Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Minecraft Monday, week number 5. Of course, we are live here from the UMG studio, the greater St. Louis area. It may be a somewhat of a muggy day, but we're enjoying some Minecraft, obviously. Like we said, it's myself, Lando Sanders, joined in part by Reflections, 9-Hole Grains. Guys, we're having a great time, actually, in the pre-show, talking about some Minecraft, some new teams, some new combinations, and, of course, our dark horse. There's a lot of things to talk about. But, Taylor, how you doing today, right? We're a month in.
I know. It's crazy to think about, but we're already a month in. Week 4 underway. We have some new game modes coming your way along with some new teams, and it's going to be an interesting one that I'm always excited to see what action is going to unfold. 9, good to have you back. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Like you said, about a month of action here, and I know today's going to be a lot of fun, too. Last week, we heard your responses. You loved all the different mini games. It kept the scores very close all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And like Taylor said, some new modes here, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it'll be another close one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, right? Because we talked about, we've kind of fine-tuned a lot of our game modes coming into today in terms of, like, the way that, you know, we had some struggles last week in terms of, like, watching certain things. Maybe certain players were wanting to have certain game modes be tailored to a certain extent, and we've kind of done that. Like I said, we're adding a new one in today called Find the Button, which I'm actually really stoked for. I know you were doing a lot of research on it. Talk to me a little bit about Find the Button for those who maybe aren't as familiar.
Yeah, Find a Button literally is exactly what it sounds like, right? You have to find the hidden button, and then that leads you to, it would lead you to another map, but I believe it's just going to be one map that we're going to be playing on. But it's a really fun one to say the least, and if it's anything like Dropper where everybody spawns in, it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be sticking onto the hills, maybe some of the more experienced Find the Button players, because you know that's going to be a strategy maybe a couple of players who aren't used to this game mode or used to Minecraft are going to be doing.
And one thing is what we have to bring up, you know, obviously in comparison to last week, like I mentioned, we are playing these mini games in a Hunger Games sandwich, if you will. Game 1 we played on Wyvern, while Game 9 will be on Breezy. And that's always a rather a continuous conversation that we have, 9, is those players who maybe kind of start off a little bit. Maybe their mid-game isn't the greatest, which is obviously a big chunk, but you do have those Hunger Games to start off with and the closeout, which actually changed quite a bit of our results last week, was that Game 9.
It did. Right going into that, there were about 6 teams that could probably have won it. By the end, our winning team, Scoop and Travis, won by about 100 points there, so they scored big. We've seen, of course, in the past, and on Breezy specifically, that was where Techno and his partner back in week 2 scored over 200 points. So we know that no matter how well you do, as long as you've got a good Hunger Games at the end, you can always bring it back.
Absolutely. Well, of course, we're talking about our game modes. Let's watch the people, the teams that are going to be competing in these game modes. We'll take a look at our first page of participants, and boy, am I excited. We've got our first page composed of a number of different interesting combos. We've got James Charles and Techno with each other for this week. James Charles played with Vicstar last week. They ended up saying what was the top 8, I believe. So curious to see, obviously, with what is considered, and without question, the best player in Minecraft Monday up to this point, Techno the Pig. Guys, talk to us a little bit about this combination. What does this mean, and how far do you think they can go?
So I know 9 has an interesting theory about whenever it comes to Techno playing with James Charles, because we know a lot of players love to bully and gang up on a Techno because he's just that good. In fact, last week when he played with Chris 02, I think, how many points did he have? Like, I know they
had
they
over
finished.
9. I think he had
Over
900.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was excited.
Dated, but I like it. Yeah, he had over 900 points himself,
Wow.
and the team only scored just over 1,100.
Yeah,
so
1,146. So I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking about a massive amount of points. So individually, he's literally the best player in our tournament time and time again.
He beat a majority of the teams with his own score last
Right,
week. That's crazy.
which is crazy. And you found it interesting he was playing with James Charles, and what was that reasoning?
Well, we've always talked about James Charles, the master of diplomacy there, recruiting people onto their
Right.
side. Maybe
go.
James Charles can negotiate a ceasefire so that teams won't be able to gang up on
Techno.
and that might be just enough to push him over the top.
I'd be on. I mean, being totally straight with you guys. Like, if I was to be like, oh yeah, I get to form an alliance with Techno, absolutely, I'm going to take that chance without question. Obviously, a few other teams that we can look at. I know one that you were really interested in, Taylor, is team number 4, Skeppy and Bad Boy Halo. Those guys had a very solid placement last week.
Second place.
What are we thinking for this week? Think they can take it all?
Absolutely. I think Skeppy, Bad Boy Halo, especially with Travis and Scoop out of the way, right? They're not playing again this week after getting first next week. Skeppy, Bad Boy Halo seem to do very well when it comes to the different mini games that we are playing. Even though we have a Find a Button coming in despite a parkour, I think they are going to do considerably well. So that is my favorite for today.
Yeah, and one last team, at least of my interest, and obviously there's a lot of other ones that we can talk about, but just to try to keep it, you know, as fair as we can. One roster, though, Mongrel and Mitra, right? They're back. Fortnite guys, they had a very solid placement last week, finishing 10th. So I'm curious if they can maybe start to impact it a little bit, because when it came down to those, you know, somewhat FPS modes, those shooters, if you will, in terms of of Spleef, they saw a lot of success. So I'm curious if that trend can continue. Maybe they've worked on their parkour skills a little bit. But let's go and take a look at our second list of participants, going from 11th now to 16th. One team that I'm super excited about, and this is my pick for today. I'm claiming it. It is mine. I literally came into, to the studio today, and I looked at you guys and said, this is my team, and I'm choosing it ahead of time. Vicstar and Preston, for those who watch the old school days, known as TBNR Frags. Preston's known for a number of different games on his YouTube channel. Obviously comes from somewhat of a Minecraft background along with games like Call of Duty, but he possesses a ton of skill alongside Vic, which we know can get up to very high tier placements, second place back in week 1. So that for me is a team that I would be shocked if they weren't involved in the top 3. But talk to me a little bit about that roster and maybe any other ones that you guys see on this page.
I like specifically Captain Sparkle's Ant Venom. I know you mentioned Ant Venom quite a bit last week in week 3, and Captain Sparkle's Ant Venom back together once again. One of the original teams, anyways, coming through as of last week. They placed 4th with 1,134 points. So obviously the mini games worked in their favor, and they did considerably well. So that is going to be one of my favorite teams. But I'm excited to see Hey I'm B and Grape Applesauce joining the mix for the first time coming in to Minecraft Monday. Hey I'm B was the first introduction that I ever got to Minecraft in terms of dropper. And that was the one lady that I kind of watched over and over again. And I got to say, she was pretty good at the game, pretty entertaining to watch. So I expect nothing less from her tonight, along with Grape Applesauce. But anybody else?
Well, I think you guys have gone over all the rosters here, and I think it's important to recognize that these good rosters that we're talking about are the ones where both of them can contribute, right? In mini games, what we saw last week is, in some of them like Minecraft, Hunger Games, and Battle Arena, if one player maybe isn't as skilled, you can kind of hide that.
Yeah.
You can stick together, you can work together, they can feed you different resources, things like that. But on those mini games, everybody has to score for themselves. So all of these rosters we've meant, look for both players on these rosters to score well.
For sure. And one team, though, kind of the last one, kind of rounding things out, one team I am interested in is going to be Team 11, Dan TDM and Think Noodles. Speaking of rosters, this is, I think, one of the only, if not the only team that I'd rather outside of like KY or Speedy and Sidearms, but there's only like a very select few that have been with each other throughout every single week. Dan TDM and Think Noodles have been one of those rosters. Unfortunately, though, last week was their worst placement, 17th, but you never know, right? They could easily improve on that. They have the chemistry. I'm thinking that it could happen eventually, but I'm excited to see how this first Hunger Games map decides to go. And like we talked about with Techno kind of on the map, how does everyone react? How is he going to kind of play alongside James Charles? Is he going to maybe set up James Charles for some lovely assists, kind of pull a John Stockton, if you will? Like, hey, I totally was helpful on that when I threw a snowball and did half a tick of damage or something like that.
You and the dated references today.
I mean, hey, what can I say, man?
John Stockton.
Sadly, a lot of people out there probably have no idea who that is.
Probably not.
No idea. I'm not pointing fingers.
Landon
I'm not
is like
pointing
the
fingers.
master, like references and things like
Do
that.
you know what we're talking about?
Listen, I don't.
Soccer's a great sport. It's just
I don't know sports that well. Come on.
Just kidding. It's basketball. I just thought I would throw a little curveball out there.
I'm so glad I didn't respond to that. And it's like, of course,
great soccer player. Absolutely, just regarded as one of the best players of all time. But,
well, speaking of which, you mentioned James Charles, Techno Pig.
Here we go. Now we're
just switch the
segueing
subject. When it comes to Hunger Games, I am excited to see that because actually last week everybody still ganged up on Techno Pig. And they couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
Well, they did. I think in the 10th one that we saw, the last Hunger Games for the final game or the 9th game, but for at least for the first Hunger Game, even Chris couldn't hold him back, and I know that was his weakness. In fact, he changed himself to Techno Weakness, so that was kind of always an interesting thing to watch, and nothing really could stop him. And I don't think. I think whenever it comes to Chris O2 and James Charles, honestly, I would put James Charles as a step up. I don't know how people feel about that. James Charles has been coming through and performing quite well. I know he knows his way around Minecraft.
He does.
So,
he definitely does.
He definitely does. So,
like week 1,
I have faith.
Week 1, or no, he was in week 2.
Week 2 with PewDiePie.
Whenever he was playing, his first week, when he was playing with PewDiePie, we were like, okay, who's going to be kind of teaching who in this situation? We really thought it was going to be PewDiePie. It was actually James Charles. Like he was kind of splitting things, giving weapons even to PewDiePie in that instance. So I'm really excited to see how those two fare off. And one of my favorite game modes actually coming in today, I want to discuss it before we hop into Hunger Games, is going to be Battle Arena. Like I wasn't really too sure what to kind of expect with a lot of our mini games last week, but Battle Arena gave us a ton of interesting dynamics, a few things that we had to tailor a little bit to make sure that it's not as OP, if you will. But that was full of a ton of different combinations, players trying to want to base themselves around, the main chest that spawned obviously in the center, along with, like the building aspect that we saw from Vicstar. There was a lot of creativity that was coming through in that mini Hunger Games mode, if you will. It's kind of like Hunger Games on like at a faster rate. But I really enjoyed that
Yep.
game mode a lot, and I'm excited to see that one. Since it's kind of sandwiched in the middle, if you will, I think it's going to be great for a lot of those players who maybe are looking for. It's for me. It's like if we have players who are super solid in PvP, that's the one they're like bouncing on. That's the one that they're waiting for.
Sure.
Once game 1 is over, they're waiting for that battle arena opportunity, and then most likely into game number 9. But overall, in our game modes, I think this is going to be interesting because it was obviously based solely around PvP. Now it's kind of who is overall the best Minecraft player, because it's not just about PvP. It's how you dodge certain things, how you play. Even obviously parkour is a major factor of it. But I was, like I said, wasn't really sure what to expect last week. But it kind of presented us with a number of different unique opportunities to find out who really is overall, you could argue, the best Minecraft player rather than just one aspect of it.
No, I agree, and that's why I like this format so much, is because we get to see the all-around best player versus just Hunger Games for the first 2 weeks, which was entertaining all in its own.
Right.
But don't distract you from the fact, even though there's a ton of mini games, Hunger Games still plays a huge role when it comes to this format because you can get so many points. We've seen over 200, maybe even close to 250 points from Techno, right?
Right.
Whenever it comes to Hunger Games, so obviously that makes a huge difference.
Right.
But these other mini games are equally as important, and one that I'm wanting to see again that we got to get a little taste of last week was Run from Lava. For me, that was incredibly fun to watch. And Techno, I'm going to start my timer at the beginning of it because I want to know how quickly can he finish the course. Because last week, what was the number? He finished the course in like 4 minutes faster, 5 minutes faster,
something
like
that. Yeah.
Then like Vicstar, or was it even Vicstar who
I
finished
think it was
after?
Bajan who
It was
finished.
Bajan.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was Bajan. I know Vicstar and Techno were like
They were head and head for a while.
It was that darn gold course. The gold course that got Big Star last time. And if you don't know what we're talking about here, this will all be very, very clear soon.
It will be.
In terms of what they're going to be playing. But I'm glad that you guys especially soloed out those PvP modes because they do score the most points.
Right.
And as we were saying earlier, those are the modes where you can maybe hide a weakness in your team.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
also the only time that you can really control how many points the opponent is getting. Because normally in a lot of these minigames, it's on the opponent to play well. And as long as they're doing their job, they're going to score well. But you can kind of limit that in PvP mode. So I wonder maybe this time, now that James Charles is with Technoblade, if they're going to be the ones going on the attack and trying to limit some of those other teams. And there's a lot of strategy, which is why I like that it's game 1, 10, and 5, I believe.
What was it?
It's
sorry?
beginning, middle, and end for the
Oh,
PvP modes.
yeah, it's
the,
like
the
1,
Hunger
5,
Games.
and 9.
The,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So
9. How'd you forget that one? I don't know. But regardless, though, we're obviously talking about a number of different teams. Feel free, by the way, to let us know in the Twitch chat what you guys are thinking. Who is your favorite team right now? Who do you think has the opportunity, has the capability to take that first place spot? I know all of us here on the couch, all of us here on the set have kind of labeled out our, not necessarily dark horses, but the teams that we really think have the opportunity to win first place here in week number 5. But also, while being social about it, feel free to check out our friends at G Fuel, the official energy drink of esports. And while you're at the checkout phase, which we know you're going to buy something, right? Make sure to use code UMG for 10% off. Massive thanks to our friends at G Fuel and Keemstar for, of course, making all events here at the UMG studio possible, but especially Minecraft Monday in reference for today. But guys, I know we're having a few issues trying to get into our first matchup. We're going to throw it to a quick little commercial break, but when we return, it is time for some Hunger Games. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Minecraft Monday, week number 5. Of course, we are still live from the UMG studio. We haven't left. We're still here. We're still waiting on the game to be loaded up, but that hasn't stopped us from getting hype about it. But, of course, like I said, it's myself, Lando Sanders, joined in part by Reflections, 9-Hole Grains. Guys, I'm hyped. I'm ready for this first game to get started. Like I said, we still kind of have our expectations for who we think are going to be the strongest teams, but maybe off of our picks, who are we looking at to maybe come out strong in this first game of Hunger Games? Like, do we think that someone may try to go for Technoblade off the start? Obviously playing alongside James Charles. Are they ready for the influx of players that may try to flock toward them? Or has James Charles, as you mentioned earlier, as he's starting to kind of, be out there, right? Trying to make a case for why they shouldn't try to attack them, make some alliances. Are we thinking somebody may go for him off the start, try to, go for the hitman play?
I think that's your best strategy is to go for the hitman
like
play. Right off the rip, right when he doesn't have, he's not fully kitted up. Obviously the best when he's going to be at his weakest point. But with that being said, it's still risky to do. We've seen teams try to go at him, 2v1, and they haven't made it work. So it's always a tough thing to try and go through. But I was reading chat a little bit earlier, and people were talking about grape apple jelly. They were actually saying how good this guy is.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They were wanting to see a techno and grape battle go down. So maybe that could be an interesting one to say the least. So a player that's going to be on my radar, at least when it comes to Hunger Games round number 1.
You shouldn't have said that was Twitch chat, and then you could have claimed it as an original thought.
That's true.
That would have been
I can't take your
genius moment. Look, all I'm saying is nobody had to know.
He did say grape apple jelly. It's grape apple sauce. So it was close. That was the only thing that you slipped up on. I wasn't going to say anything, but we got to it, and I wanted to make sure we didn't.
Jelly,
this is great.
Jelly could technically be a sauce if you apply it properly.
Is that where this is going? I had something to say about Jerome and Filza, but this is a much more fascinating conversation.
I don't know.
Here.
When a jelly sauce, it's like past that grape sauce.
Then what's jam?
See, now don't confuse it. Don't make more than what it is.
We need to make tiers, like how that's like a big thing on Twitter right now. It's like tier everything out. We need to lay out the exact details for what defines a jelly and what clearly defines
I'll lead
a sauce.
the charge
Because
I
have no
fall
idea.
under that.
Lead the charge.
I don't know. I guess I don't know if that'd be higher or lower. I mean, I'd imagine the juice range would be higher than the jelly range.
Viscosity level of something.
Oh, viscosity. Such
Wow.
a word.
How many characters are in that?
Characters.
Letters.
9?
Yeah. 9. Of course, it's always got to be 9. I feel like that's always seems to be the.
I think
the
that's
typical
right. Nobody
answer.
checked that.
VIS
Only tell me if I'm right. Don't
7.
tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. VIS Cosity. Or 6 rather. So.
Okay, we just casually know all the numbers in the
I
world.
spell it.
By the way, chat, in case you are curious, we don't have the button to press to start this game. We're still waiting. I know that's kind of the typical thing. It's like, why aren't these guys starting the game? I promise. If I had the ability to press the button, if it was just pressing the creeper head, I would do it right now. I really would. But we're still waiting on a few more people, I'd imagine. I actually have no idea who is the tardy party, if you will. But I would definitely get on him if I had any inclination for who that would be. Predictions, though. Let's go and get into that. Predictions for Wyvern. This is personally one of my favorite Hunger Games maps just because of the dragon designs that exist. We've seen some interesting play from, constant fragging out, if you will, to even camoing yourself into a wall. Shout out
we
to
have
Skeppy.
seen that.
So are we thinking anyone in particular has the ability to take this game? Because I'm not going to lie. I'm going for, off the rip, I'm going for Preston and Vicstar.
Of course you are.
Sure.
You're
sticking with it. I do
who
have
are
one, though.
Who are you going for,
Okay,
Taylor?
well, I'll give him a
Take
second
the pressure
here.
off.
We haven't been talking about Jerome and Filza at all. But
It's true.
in week 2, when they teamed up, they were the closest to beating Techno and Ballistic Squid that week. And then last week, they were right in the conversation up until the end as well. And they've always done consistently well in these PvP modes. So they've actually won a couple. I believe Jerome, with a great sneak attack, actually beat Techno back in that week too. And again, this is the same team. And we've talked about continuity, how nice it is to have the same teammate. This 3 weeks in a row. We know that they've been good in the minigames. We know they've been good in PvP. I think if they come out to a strong start here, this could be their week. They're due. I've predicted them for the last 3 weeks. They are due eventually.
Yep. No, that's fair. That's fair. I agree. I think I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say probably Techno Pig and James Charles are going to do well in this Hunger Games.
Okay.
And the only reason why I say that, maybe a lot of you guys may not know in chat, Techno has been tearing up week 1, 2, and 3 whenever it comes to Hunger Games.
In case you haven't understood what we've talked about. You know?
I think they're going to do well, but honestly, overall, I think I'm still sticking next to Skeppy and Bad Boy Halo. I think they're going to do well, but we're finally underway, ladies and gentlemen, and I am excited to see who is going to be the first victims. Who's going to be the?
That's the real question.
That is
right?
always the question, right? And you know, sometimes it happens quickly, especially if Beijing comes out swinging like he typically does. He holds no punches back. But so far, Coast is clear. Vicstar on your screen, a tough player to deal with, especially if you're on the opposing side. Well, let's go ahead and look at what's that, Jack Messi as well as Donny Bubs and see what they're up to as they're just going to be hanging out. And who's also going to be our team hiding? Because Nick, the Pintas, they're not with us this week.
They're not, unfortunately.
And they were the wild cards who always made it to the end somehow. By
wild is a fantastic word to use, that's for sure. Those guys were they were hard hitters. Let's just say that, by the way. And also, I think the exact place where I can't actually see who that is. It's I can't remember. By the way, Grande's first one to fall.
B.
That was the first place that we actually saw. Well, who is it? Cloak themselves or camo themselves. Skeppy.
Yes, it
was
was
that exact block that we just saw. By the way, major man of the hour, Technoblade. We've been talking about his social interactions. They have been exploding. Nine, I know you were taking quite a bit of a gander at his kind of social engagement. His stream viewers have absolutely exploded since Minecraft Monday, and for good reason, right? This guy is absolutely insane. The only 2-time champion, the only back-to-back champion in Minecraft Monday, and barely off of, maybe a final fight that involved 8 different teams looking at him in game number 9 of Hunger Games last week, nearly completed a 3rd championship. It's always fun to watch Technoblade.
It is, and it was just truly sad to see. I mean, it's like anything you'd see in any Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones thing where the hero just has a million swords in them and they finally take one last breath of air before they finally fall. But right, we've been talking them up, and for good reason. Everything we've thrown at Techno has been able to throw it right back. And actually, Jerome going down very, very early to Preston right there. So already we're seeing some of the heavy hitters collide, and that's what makes it big early on in these matches here, is typically the best teams are the ones that can stay alive and not have one of them drop early, just like that, Taylor.
Absolutely right. You know, having that 2-on-1 advantage is always critical, but being a single player is going to make things that much more difficult. Techno, Ender Pearl up and already into an engagement. That's Fitz going out and his partner Kairos as well, and Techno holding no punches back. Fully eliminates a team, and we were just talking about it. 2-on-1 is better than none, but he went by himself basically and fills it from the back. Frags, he's being vicious.
Oh my gosh, what a play this would be actually from Preston, right, to take down Jerome and Philza both. That was a team which, well warranted, has got to be on our radar, and obviously, Nine, you were bringing them up, but to no avail. He is out here and having a fantastic time in his first Minecraft Monday. And kind of back-to-back interesting moments, right? A top team ends up falling, and at the same time, kind of going on in the backdrop, if you will. A lovely play actually coming through from Technoblade. Decides to kind of utilize that Ender Pearl, pretty much splits the opponents and really catches them off guard. And that is what we talk about. I mean, coming into the very first week of Minecraft Monday, I didn't really have my eye on the Ender Pearl specifically for some reason. And then once those were added, I was like, oh my gosh, if you have that in your inventory, that is the ultimate change of the game. And obviously that sounds, very standard to a lot of viewers, but to no regard, I mean, it just wasn't something that really kind of caught my eye. It wasn't like one of the main inventory spots that I thought would really kind of fill it out as much as it does, but an automatic teleport, it definitely does a lot for you, and Technoblade showed it there in that last clip.
Well, I don't think that we kind of realized how all-in-one it could be, right? It's your way out, it's your way in. It's a way to cross a lot of different altitudes, which is not something that you can do so easily in Minecraft. Of course, in Hunger Games, you can't build like you're used to in regular Minecraft, so it really does become your one-stop shop for everything you need mobility-wise. And I agree. I think the creativity of these players shows you. And speaking of creativity, the man who made this such a famous map, Skeppy right there, who got him with an early pick as well. Very nice there. We've seen a lot of the heavy hitters come out and get some real early elims here at the start. And that, again, just goes to show you no prisoners taken this early.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the fact that every single week it seems like maybe, Techno's always been up there, but there's a lot of players that we haven't necessarily talked about that have always made a name for themselves consistently, whether it be from, second place all the way down to fifth and so on and so forth. But Grape Applesauce, a player we were talking about before, comes through and eliminates Chris. And unfortunately, Chris goes down, and he was the partner last week of Techno and got carried very hard, I would have to say, up to third place.
You could argue the only person who's actually beaten Techno.
Actually, that is a fact.
Oh, okay, so notice, Chris types in chat, LOL, this man's sweaty. And that was the guy that a lot of people in chat were labeling and saying, okay, watch out for Grape Applesauce. This may be a new top contender, but good plays coming through as Technoblade actually ends up dropping one. I thought that was actually a team for a moment. Not at all the case, as Technoblade ends up taking down Skeppy, which is a huge and heavy hitter. Obviously a pick that I was currently looking at, Taylor, you were as well. And the big thing in terms of Skeppy is how consistent this guy has been. He goes from fifth, goes to fourth, and then last week his highest placement yet, second place, so has only spiraled up, if you will. But to get taken down as early as he did in a very heavy hitter of a game mode Hunger Games like that, and also to your main competition in Technoblade, that is unfortunate to say the least.
It definitely is, because how many teams do we still have 8 teams remaining on the map, and you get, 10 points for every survive that you do whenever it comes to the team. So if you survive a team or a little bit longer, you're going to get 10 points going your way. A lot riding on the line for that. And Techno is really doing well. We still haven't seen, of course, that Grape Applesauce kind of battle go down, but it's going to be happening. Trust me, as soon as you see that B running around the map, which is, in fact, hey, I'm B, Grape is going to be following shortly after that. But I got to say, I'm liking this duo of James Charles and Techno. They are doing fairly well.
That's Captain Sparkles and Venom just off to the side. Technoblade comes in with the sneak attack, and this could be a problematic situation if he can't get out of dodge. Only a few hearts left, but takes down one with him. And now it is up to James Charles in a big duel.
He did it, see?
And takes down Captain Sparkles. Lovely play from James Charles. And I want to reference back to week 2. The first ever elim that James Charles got was on Captain Sparkles, so back-to-back, that is a huge win for that team. However, for everybody else, that is somewhat of a positive at the same time. Technoblade is no longer on Wyvern.
And something to think about, too. Mitch, right, Bayesian Canadian, still most elims as it is on the scoreboard. So you got to be thinking, he's been tearing it up, and a player we haven't seen too often. So a lot of these elims that have been going down, he's probably been on the heels of them. So good stuff coming out from him. Vicstar as well, kitted up decently well, I would have to say. Does have that gapple, so that is going to come in handy, especially later on during the final fights. And now we're going to see that battle for center control. It's going down.
We've seen this so often, again, when a team rotates back over here to the middle. This is generally because they're kitted up well and they're just trying to get kind of the end game and go. Wow, that's some big damage falling off there. Is Bayesian Canadian here, and Vicstar finally coming in. Of course, they are the closest thing we have to a true shooter in this. And Bayesian's been holding on to this pretty well. He took a lot of damage there at the start, going to try to run away. And this is why we talk about Ender Pearls being so nice. You can't really close this gap in any meaningful way if you don't have one. So it looks like Bayesian going to try, throw some stuff off there, get a couple more shots. And if that's Bayesian's teammate behind,
they have not seen him.
They might be able to get some, this could be good. A little tactics here if they sneak back around. And it doesn't look like it's going to work out for them here. Bayesian's going to continue to run away. And it does look like Verb goes down. So a very clever idea, trying to make the best of a bad situation. But I do believe that it's going to be a clean 2-0 here. Bayesian's still running away. Can't outrun an arrow.
Preston.
And Vicstar and Preston making some big moments. I was going to say earlier that even though Techno went down, they were well ahead in the elim department when they did so. But now, if they get these final few picks, they might take the lead off this.
Yeah, and that's the scary part about this roster is that, PvP is obviously, it seems to be one of their strong suits, but they're also very good at parkour, right? Vicstar, except for that gold stage last week in terms of the lava run, was right up there with Technoblade. I know that's one thing that at least previously has given Preston, a.k.a. TB and our frags of old, a lot of headway as well. So this team could be only starting to thrive as time goes on. And speaking of thriving, James Charles, just hanging out toward the top side, watching and spectating this fight that's getting ready to go down. And look at this. It's Grape Applesauce, maybe one of the best competitors in this tournament, and it looks as if doing quite a bit of damage onto Vikkstar, has to take the Gapple, and perfect time to do so. Now quickly begins to engage again, down to 7 hearts, and we know how good that bow can be. And it looks as if still challenging off to the side, a 2v1 situation for the moment. And where could that teammate start to follow suit? Why? Because he's getting closer toward that edge. Green Applesauce is down.
Man, that is unfortunate. B, though, still around to keep the dream alive for Grape Applesauce, and she's a solid player. She knows her way around Minecraft, so I expect a lot from her and her Bumblebee outfit. But I know she was missing some headgear, so that could pose a little problem, but we'll definitely have to see as the players are going to start collapsing down. And that is, in fact, James Charles at top, right?
No.
Or was it? Or where?
No.
Where? So
I don't think they know. That might be B.
Oh, James Charles is actually in a different location, just chilling out.
I think that might be B up there.
Oh,
Right,
so it might be
that
B.
is B,
So
yeah.
okay, and that's smart for B, right? What do Bs like to do? They like to fly high, and that's what she's doing. But
they have a bow. If you have a bow,
do, and knock her down. But and that's Preston too, right? Preston has been absolutely vicious this entire time.
There's
Vikkstar too.
I believe there's another full team out there somewhere too, because we know about James Charles, we know about B, we know about these two. That means there's still 4 other players out there, and there's not that much room for them. So, as you see, poor B here get collapsed
I'm just waiting for a WWE type entrance where we just see Nick A30, or rather, excuse me, not Nick A30, Nick 2018 and Penthas just rise from out of nowhere.
Point them out. Where are they at? I miss them.
So here we go.
The Undertaker.
It's going to be Connor Eats Pants and Jay Schlatt. So that was the one roster that we were curious where they could have been. I think they were hiding in the tree line. There's actually someone still hiding in the tree over there, but Jay Schlatt quickly taken down, and Connor Eats Pants also dropped. And this is a scary sight to see. James Charles still alive, and there is still somebody just off in the distance and has been sought after. It's actually going to be Donnie Bobes.
How's that zone not taking him out so far? Must have a lot of food.
He's going down with this tree.
Because that zone is hitting hard in there.
Let's go, James. Come on, James. Surely he's got this.
So it's James Charles, right? Just last alive in a 1v2?
James has got this. No question.
No, you see Speedy there actually in the bottom right hiding as well.
Oh, it's
so
Speedy.
It's 2 players hiding, and these 2 juggernauts sitting here in the middle. You know, James Charles does have the best gear here.
Scams the house.
Is James just hanging out in the zone?
Yeah.
Storm?
That's what, well, no, I think he was on the edge.
He's taking the damage right now.
Is he taking damage?
I think
Yeah.
he took
Okay,
a
that's
mushroom
is that him
stew,
right there?
so he's
Okay.
constantly building hearts.
This
So
is
that's going to hold on to him for a little while, but to no avail.
He's just trying to outlast Speedy, and that's
That's
all it is.
Oh,
They're
you're
just
Speedy, yeah.
trying to get that extra point. That's all that this is about, is just trying to get the extra points for survival.
I'm curious who made the call. Was it James Charles, like, I'm just going to chill out here in the storm, or was it, in fact, maybe Techno who was like, okay, let's hang out.
Wow.
As Speedy's going to get dropped, TNT, unfortunately, eliminates him, taking off the last bit of health. And now James Charles got to make a decision, and we are pushing in, but he's going to be pushing into a very dominant force of Preston and Vikkstar, and that's going to be a tough duo to take out, and the standoff happens, and they just look forward.
This is what James Charles,
Hi, old friend.
his big positive is he knows how to communicate, right? Maybe he could somehow convince Vikkstar. He's like, you know what? You guys got so many elims already. Get
Get
so
a
many
1v1.
points.
No, get a 1v1. Let James Charles fully heal here. Oh, yeah, he's giving him food.
It's a trap, though.
No.
Vikkstar's not that evil.
Don't
Vikkstar's
be-
a
No,
very nice
Vikkstar
Don't be
teamed
mean,
with
Phillip.
James Charles last week. This is all part of their former friendship. This is what it is.
Be a good sister.
This is the
Technoblade
James
as
Charles
well.
effect.
And you're right. And it's obviously the diplomacy working out well because the
Oh.
partner is Techno as Vikkstar getting a little worried as James Charles goes for the attack.
This is great. I'm loving this.
No armor 1v1. They're working around here. I like this. And James Charles does have 6 Ender Pearls as well.
Oh.
I'm not sure if James Charles is going to be able to make the best use of them, but
You know what he should do? Sneak attack. Go for TBNR. You know what? You just like casually throw the inner pearl up there,
The
try to
most
attack him.
vicious player on the map, though, Landon?
I mean, hey, sneak attacks. I mean, that would be the play that I would try to make. But obviously, I'm not them, so there's a reason for that. But
What I want.
oh, here we go.
Is-
Here we go.
Oh, and the
We're
fight.
engaging.
James Charles
Somewhat
actually
of a
gets a couple
positive
of
for
good
James.
hits.
Oh,
Well, that ended very quickly.
I'll be honest though. Like he brings Vic down to 4 hearts, or what is that? 3 hearts. Excuse me.
2.5 HP is what Vic says.
Oh, okay, well,
That's not bad.
That's one more slash.
No, in all
Yeah.
seriousnly, James Charles is a decent player.
Oh,
really,
and,
really
and obviously
is.
in terms of the the health items, maybe even the armor overall that was enchanted for one side compared to the other, there could be a somewhat of a difference in that situation. So props, right? James Charles finishing second. He also gives those points to Technoblade, which is kind of even more influential because that is the big question since Technoblade somewhat, did go down early. James Charles was there still to earn some points for the roster. So that's somewhat of a positive, I think, if in the end of things, if you are that group. But not really the biggest of surprise, and obviously our hype up for this new roster, if you will, first time ever together in Minecraft Monday, and it's Preston's first Minecraft Monday tournament as well. So excited to see what that duo can do in terms of the future of these games, but still to no avail. James Charles in week number 2, and here in week number 5, taking down Captain Sparkles. And last week, or not last week, but in week 2 when James Charles took him down, Captain Sparkles actually changed his name to Captain Salty because of how frustrated he was to being the first person eliminated by James. So that could be a reoccurring effect, if you will.
See them in the dreams and the nightmares even. Just can play so well. I can get 4th place, win all these mini games, but I just can't escape James Charles. But we will get a score update for you here. Should be no surprise with who is on top. I'd imagine that it has to be Vicstar and Preston there, and it is indeed.
Oh, wow.
But second place, still within 100 points, Technoblade and James Charles, and look at the gap with everybody else.
Yeah. This is actually the biggest gap that I think I've ever seen whenever it comes to game number 1. Vicstar and Preston coming out with a 188 score to start us off.
Like
that is
first to
massive.
third. First to third is 150.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's
like
insane.
as if they played a second game already. That's what it looks like.
That's what I'm saying. It's the biggest gap I've ever seen.
It might be. It might, from first, second to third. That's a very real possibility.
It's got to be up there. And the other thing that's so difficult is in these modes, it's very difficult to make up lots of points outside of the PvP modes because, again, you can't really influence making your opponent play worse. It's kind of just on them to play their game. I mean, you can kind of get clever in the TNT run, which will be our next game mode, as well as some of the others. But in Dropper, in Run from Lava, it's just all them. You can't make them mess up. So I don't want to say that this is a sign of things to come, but it's going to be a hard mountain to climb.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when it comes into TNT Run, I actually sent a quick little message from production. Shout out to Brian, by the way. He let me know a few of the power-ups that we're going to be having for TNT Run. I thought it was going to be just double jump, but that actually is not the case. So we're going to be having a grenade, which actually destroys a massive area. Also a speed boost, which makes you run faster, obviously. We're going to be having the jump boost, which makes you jump higher. It's kind of like that double jump that I was talking about from last week. And then last save, which is jetpack boost for a last-ditch attempt to stay alive. So I think it's kind of like a quick little, jumping up effect that kind of keeps you up in the air, elevated for a little while. So those are a few of the power-ups that we're going to be looking out for. So definitely an interesting kind of thing thrown into the mix a little bit, and that also could credit a lot of players who maybe played TNT Run in the past. They're used to these power-ups, used to these changes. We'll have to see how those could be
I'm interested in a grenade one. Grenade and TNT?
Yeah.
That doesn't go hand in hand.
Yeah, everything that we just said about there not being legitimate counterplay, I don't think is true anymore. Now I think there are ways to really influence how your opponent's playing. Last week, Techno won 3 of these 5 rounds. Was the last one, including one where he was even falling and just hit the ground last. So we'll see if it is, of course. Now, thank you. Particles being hard nerfed here, so
thank goodness.
The frame rate is a little bit better. We'll take a look right here.
Techno just wrote in chat, sometimes my mom isn't home. I go to the backyard and I bury myself and pretend I'm a carrot.
Okay.
Technoblade is still on the top right now. So
how did he type that?
Techno is I don't know.
There's got to be some secret to
What does it even mean? Like,
I have no idea.
I'm a carrot. He's really psyching out the competition, and honestly, that was
really
probably a strategy because he's going to type that. People are reading that, and they're going to be just as confused, and they're not going to be focused on the strategy in TNT Run.
8 people who read that message, and while they were reading it,
they just fall straight down.
Yeah, they fell down to like the 3rd or 4th level or something along those lines. But take a look at Dottie.
Yeah.
Oh! Actually falls down to what is the second to last layer, and that's the thing, right? When it comes down to this top perspective, is that once you're up there for so long, the bottom tiers start to become so difficult to try to find those, those areas of interest. Those gaps are definitely not going to treat you oh so kindly. Players like Ant Venom, Jack, KYR Speedy, and James Charles here at the very bottom level off the rip, and unfortunately, they're not going to make any players' lives easier as they start to fall, and there goes 2 already. And there goes another. My goodness. Unfortunate to say the least. Filza still hanging out down here. And take a look at this. TBNR Frags at the top. Oh, my gosh. He falls down to just the next layer. That is such a positive. And there's still quite a few blocks in this area as well.
Yeah, they'll be able to play around there. You see Skeppy still up here as well. So again, players that we're used to seeing at this level. Take a look at Technoblade here. There's not much room for him, and he's got to be careful here. Very careful. How in the world did you survive that, Techno? I will never be able to understand it.
That's insane.
But when you're on the ground here, this is where things can get a little bit tricky because you can now make it more difficult for your opponents to land here. And Taylor, you talked about that a lot last week. Sometimes you can get a 2-for-1.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think that's
That's
well,
that.
We'll see you later, Preston. As he just falls straight
Vicstar's
down.
here. Okay.
So Vicstar, obviously a very talented player when it comes to these mini games. He knows his way around them. But you're right? Whenever it comes to making life difficult for your opponents, being on that final, I think a player just fell off too on the side.
It's so silent, but it's like it's a silent fall. It's just
But if only we can hear their voices. I know they'd be screaming as they were
right.
falling down. But yeah, definitely so. Because Vicstar on this level, look below him. He accidentally falls. There are very few blocks he can land on. And then you also have to be thinking about, is he going to be able to transition from block to block on the blocks that he falls on down below? And with Verb being up here too, he's got to worry about the same issue. So it's going to get very testy. This is going to be very testy as we do continue forward. But, yeah, Verb doing work for Beijing Canadian, and he was a great player whenever it came to TNT Run last week, going on the outside, as I do believe a jump boost was just gained by Verb up ahead.
Might be nice. And
unfortunately,
okay.
not going to come to too much usage.
Might. Well, you did say might. You did say might. But that's got to be big if you're Bajan, right? Because last week we talked about Techno with his big scores there. Bajan had the second highest individual score last week.
Yes.
And didn't have nearly the same success in the overall scoring, not getting top 3.
Right.
But if you have a teammate that can do that well for you in TNT Run, I think that has to leave you feeling pretty all right.
Yeah, Beijing last week, I think 6th or 7th place last week, so not a bad start. And now, with those special abilities being gained, do you go for them off the rip? Do you try and just, stay on the outside? Do you try to run a Tron race and, hit off your opponent and drop them down? A lot of different things that can happen. And we already have a couple of players on that next level.
Yeah.
They're going to be just below as another victim is going to fall themselves. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, can you even isolate a player? Like, for example, we saw Vicstar remaining very high up on the levels. Why? Because he was on the outside and nobody was challenging him. No one was trying to break apart those blocks. And I know, Landon, you're a fan of TNT Run.
I am. Well,
can you try and counter somebody in that kind of aspect? Do you play as a? Are you too focused on your own blocks?
I mean, there's definitely a way to counter. The old strategy of TNT Run used to be, hey, sprint in front of the person that's just in front of you, try to steal their blocks away. That was kind of like the main idea of it. But for a lot of people, that usually kind of end up running or ruining their run, because once you're kind of interconnected with their body model, somehow Technoblade isn't normally affected by it, but everybody else is, right? Yep. When you can't see what block you're getting ready to jump next to, it really kind of allowed for sort of a kamikaze situation. But, I mean, yeah, there are ways to definitely counter it, but I think people who utilize the outside have a massive advantage because everyone's focus is just making sure they don't fall, right? Making sure you're just kind of roaming around where you are. Sticking around the outside normally is the best thing, but also at the same time, it's being able to kind of use the surface, use your real estate that you have around you. Because, hey, if you start to run out of a few blocks that are in your situation, is that same thing happens for James Charles, you can start to struggle. As big play there coming in from Verb, he can thank his good graces for that one.
And
James manages to find a block just below.
James looked as if he had a speed boost. Maybe the speed boost isn't the best of things to grab.
Yeah, could be. It may not be, actually.
Well, it definitely disrupts the timing, right? If you're so used to going as far as you can with your sprint and then using that to cover the 4 or 5 blocks that you can, that makes it that much more difficult, as we see Preston, who's still around here in the top 6. So, again, that's both of these players
Caster Curse.
going down. Yeah, Caster Curse. I've done that twice so far. But, again, Vicstar being up as well means they're going to score big, big points here. And, once again, it is Skeppy and Technoblade, the usual suspects here at the end.
Is this fight? I was going to say this fight. This run, rather, begins to continue. It's a fight for first place. That's how I'll kind of transition. That Technoblade, my goodness, just when you have a sliver of blocks available, the fact that he just always knows the right route to run is just very, very impressive. However, you're looking at his blocks. Can he escape out of this situation? And he just has enough to nearly do so. But no, not at all the case. Ends up getting taken down, and Skeppy will win game number 2. So that's a solid run for those guys, because we talked about how they kind of had a slower performance when it came down to that game number 1, the Hunger Games. So the fact that they're able to kind of rebound here and take that matchup, it's going to be good for their overall score, but already getting close to almost halfway through, if you will. Game number 3 out of 5.
And you get pretty good amount of points, especially if both of your teammates stand up, right? There's close to, 36 total points you can get for the amount of teams that are here, amount of players. So you can get 34, 35 different points depending on where you and your partner lie. So we're talking about, with close to 5 rounds, you can get upwards, I don't know, calculator, what could you get?
Well, we'll just say it's around 150 points maximum.
Yeah.
That's a good amount.
It is. I mean, that's a pretty. We saw how dominant in that last Hunger Games that Preston and Vikkstar were. You could score that again here. You saw the level of dominance it took for that. Provided they all take care of business as they have done so far, they'll score similar to that.
A lot of averaging, a lot of points to be bringing up. And like we said, as long as you stay up, you keep earning those. Keeping in mind, the big way that you earn points in this is just by surviving. Right? Every time that someone drops, everybody else that happens to be alive, you earn 1 point for each moment, each unfortunate elimination, each drop. Here in TNT Run is only a few, maybe even one actually exists toward the top, which I believe is grape applesauce. Never personally tried it. I'd definitely be interested in it. And oh my gosh.
Caster Curse is real, apparently.
Oh, Techno, he survived.
Techno is still up. Unfortunately, Grape does not have the same fate, but thankfully lands on the second area, the second level, if you will, and is still holding on. And at one point, do you think, when is it time to jump down? Because you start to run out of blocks. Maybe you try to almost strategically fall where you know is next.
Right now?
And unfortunately can't find the next tier, but thankfully has quite a bit of real estate on the 3rd level for Techno.
Definitely so. I think it was time to dip out for him. I want to say he missed a block, but I think he was just kind of prioritizing his drop down below. Obviously, staying higher is a great thing to do, but clearly risky. Skeppy's got pretty lucky, though. There's a lot of blocks here in the mid, and he'll go ahead and work his way out towards the outside as he gets taken out himself, and this is what I love to see.
Oh, no!
As I was just about to get started with
Okay,
Invasion.
we're 3 for 3 on the Caster Curses.
Seriously,
guys.
we are the best player in the game so far.
We are in rare form, I must say.
We are dominating the competition.
We've got a few points here. We're still surviving, right?
You would think so?
Yeah, I'd like to think that.
Fit's a new player out there, at least who, in terms of lasting this long, doing considerably well, I would have to say. And I was talking about there's a lot of blocks in middle that could have been utilized. That was a big jump that he was able to make. I actually thought he was going to miss that, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
And he got a little bit too far out there. Techno wins yet another one. Not bad at all.
And what's interesting to me is that we always talk about PvP, people to look out for. Even in multiple different game modes, it's always kind of the same players, like the players who've won so far. Vikkstar game 1, Skeppy game 2, Techno game 3. They're duos, they're teams that we would absolutely be expecting to, win PvP modes, are also doing the same thing when it comes down to the regular parkour, if you will. And that's just a credit when we were talking about it last week. We're like, how is Technoblade going to do? And then he basically quotes and says, little do they know, I'm actually very, very good at these as well. So I think that can be said for all of our players who we constantly have in that top conversation.
When you've been playing Minecraft, when it's your game, it's your game all the way through. And expect to see those same names at the end. I think that we've seen Vikkstar's made top 3 every single round, I believe. At least top 5, if not top 3.
I think you're correct on that. I was thinking the exact same thing because one of the names that I was waiting for was that Vikkstar and Preston W. Like we said, they still got 2 more games to do it after their Hunger Games victory in Game 1 for those who didn't join us on Wyvern. But players already starting to diminish. Still a decent amount toward the top level, but Philza being one. Vikkstar still hanging up there. I think I saw Bajan that maybe might have just fell off in the distance. So still quite a few heavy hitters on the top level.
Yeah, Bajan likes to rock that outside. I think quite a few of the top players like to do that themselves. Fitz still remaining here at the top, too. Not doing too bad, a player on the inside. Luckily, he avoids that, and he goes all the way back towards middle, which gets riskier and riskier the more times you go back, because there's going to be even less blocks over there. And I did see Ant Venom off at a distance, too, and Vikkstar was pretty close, so maybe some counters going there. As another player drops off. But still, a lot of players remain. We're down to 26 players, but you kind of reach this lull where there's a lot of players left, and then all of a sudden you're down to 10, then you're down to 8, 5, as the blocks get thinner and thinner. And we'll go ahead and drop down the camera because you'll see. Look at how many blocks are gone. And there's Bajan. Is that Bajan or is that Grape? That's Connor Eats Pants. That was neither of them.
Taylor, you might need to get some eyewear.
My eyesight's getting terrible, let me tell you.
Oh, and Connor, I think, just fell off the map right after that. Literally fell like a few levels and reaches the bitter end. But you've got Filza, right? Trying to make some work happen. I think might have just cut off someone who was just behind him, which is the name of the game in TNT Run. And, yeah, there's no one behind him there anymore. I think he most likely cut off that player and unfortunately gets taken down as well. Coming down to our final 6 as there's just another one that enters in toward the bottom side. And Technoblade, I think, fell 2 stories because last time we were looking at him, he was on level 3. Regardless, though, he falls his way in and cannot find a block in order to survive. And the same can't be said for Skeppy. 2 left. And there it is, just Verb.
Okay. Not a bad finish from a new guy, right? Coming through big. And, you know, Bajan is going to be definitely happy about that because Bajan didn't have a bad run himself. I know I definitely saw him in top 5.
Yeah, Bajan's been up there, I know, at least in top 8 for a few of these rounds. And earlier when Techno won, Bajan was in the chat saying, absolutely happy. Anybody but Preston and Vic. And I was thinking that Bajan's like, yo, my teammate getting us some wins. I take care of business here. Let's check the scorecard after this. Yeah, yeah.
When everybody starts hating you and starts ragging on you in chat, you know you're performing well.
That's for sure, right? I mean, you get haters for a reason, right? Game number 5 underway, round 5, if you will, here in technically what is game number 2 of TNT Run. If you haven't had the greatest start, now's your chance, right? Now's your opportunity to get involved in that top 3, that top 5. As many survival points as you can earn would be key. And I want to say that I just saw Technoblade actually fall toward that 2nd level. And, of course, he is one of the main guys we've got to be talking about. A 2-time champion back-to-back in Week 1 and Week 2. This looks as if he is one of the early ones that ends up dropping. KY or Speedy still up in the main from a conversation. Captain Sparkles in level 2, and I think that is Skeppy. Yeah, Skeppy is still up here along with Donnie. I'm curious if Skeppy can be the first repeating champion because like we talked about last week, Technoblade won 3 of these TNT runs. Is that right, 9?
Yes.
So, and the fact that we haven't seen anybody duplicate that is definitely interesting, but Game 5 could be that chance, could be that opportunity.
I'm happy to see Skeppy up there. Skeppy obviously my pick to take it 2nd from last week, but I haven't seen much of Bad Boy Halo.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And that's going to be a big make
it's
it
a
or
consistency,
break it.
which is
it
is
is
crucial,
because
right?
you know you go back last. Oh, who just fell that
That
far
was
down?
Skeppy.
Taylor, stop! I'm joking.
I'm so sick of caster cursing these people because I want them to win.
There was
calling
only
other people
one
out.
hole that Skeppy could have fallen through there, too. Your power today is immaculate, Taylor.
Over 9,000.
We need to add Taylor to the scoreboard after this game is over.
Please
that's for
do.
sure. I mean, hey,
Hey.
might as well. I think it'd be very, very valuable, to be honest with you.
Put me up there. We see what Minecraft Monday can do for numbers in terms of streams, right? See Techno burst out on the scene.
Oh,
Speedy,
no.
unfortunately, going down himself. Speedy and Sidearms, that duo that's been the original duo since the beginning. Happy to see Mitch still up here, though.
Fell.
Did Techno fall? Okay.
Techno fell 2 levels.
So that's big.
Wow.
And Skeppy's still up, I do
Oh.
believe, potentially. So Skeppy being that back-to-back champion.
Oh, I think. Wait, no, Skeppy was the one who fell earlier, right?
Well, he fell to another level. I don't think he fell all the way, right?
No, he didn't fall all the way.
Yeah, he
Skeppy's
didn't fall
still
all the
up.
way.
okay,
Just fell to a
gotcha.
different level.
But Bajan and Just Verb are both up as well here. So
That's
that means they have
big.
2 in the top 6. That's going to be big points. Let's see how much longer they can stay up. So that's 2 in the top 4. They might go 1-2 here.
That'd be huge, right? It's obviously based off survival points. That'd be massive, and just like that, down to 3. Just Verb, Bajan holding on. Those long block jumps are still available, and it is Vic, who's actually pretty high up. This is still what I believe is level 3. And he also does have that power up if the opportunity calls for it. So, Vic, this may be his last opportunity. What a jump. Oh, my gosh. And I got to say, there is still a decent amount of blocks around this area, as it looks as if Bajan's teammate just did get taken down. So down to our top 2. Regardless, a big win for Bajan and co. because they were 2 out of the 3.
Oh.
And Bajan ends up dropping, and that will be a W for Vicstar. But nonetheless, we were discussing 2 in the top 3. You'll take it without question, right?
Oh, no, absolutely. Because, I mean, you know, yeah, sure, you don't finish in first place, but you're only missing out on 1 point, 2
Right.
points, if that, right? So you got the bulk of your points regardless. So a lot of points going to some new, fresh teams, especially down there in, you know, maybe top 2, top 3. But, you know, Vicstar, as well as Pristine coming in 188 already off that Hunger Games, and they played considerably well after this game too. So I can only imagine they're going to maintain that one position, but it always gets interesting from 2 to 5.
Oh, it definitely does, right? The amount of teams that were kind of influential in this game in comparison to the Hunger Games map definitely could kind of sway things. Let's go and take a look at our scoreboard, which definitely has seen a little bit of a change-up. So Vicstar and TBNR Frag still at that top spot, 450. But Beijing Canadian and Just Verb now enter in toward that second spot at 301. And in third place, there is Technoblade and James Charles, followed up by Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy, still rounding out a few things. We've got Ant Venom and Captain Sparkles kind of toward the bottom side, along with Grande and Dolan Dark. Shout out, by the way. I know they've kind of been a team who hasn't performed maybe to the extent that they'd like to, kind of around that top 17, I think 19th place last week, but a nice little change-up for them to be in that top 10 after 2 games.
It is, and 150-point lead after 2. This is starting to turn into a rout here. Vicstar and TBNR Frags, a.k.a. Preston, as we will call there, building that big of a lead this early. We've already seen how strong they are in the PvP modes, which is the time that you typically see the big point swings. So we'll have to see some of these other teams where they can find points to make up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy we're moving into Dropper. I think Dropper is going to be a fun
one
to watch.
Favorite last
It
week.
is my favorite to watch. I love just seeing the waterfall players just constantly dropping off. It's pretty fun. I think we do 10 rounds, 90 seconds each round. So you have to make sure you are being quick, especially with your angles and falling down as soon as you can, because we know we've seen a couple of players who are just on the outside of that button, because you have to click a button at the bottom as well, because just because you drop to the bottom doesn't mean you're necessarily going to get a point. You still have to click the button. And I can't remember offhead who it was, but I know there was a couple of players.
Like Lauren?
Yeah,
Lauren was one of them.
We all
Lauren
had
was
that
one of
same
them.
thing in mind. We
There
all
was
remember
Lauren
that
and
one spot.
Woofless one round as
Well,
well.
yeah, Wolflish, yeah. So you
Nice.
got to find a button. It's an
Absolutely.
awesome game. I love this game.
It is a lot of fun, right? In terms of the scoring for this game, like I said, it's 10 points for being in the very first 5 to complete a particular course, and then 5 points overall after the top 5 is concluded. If you happen to do it, obviously, kind of toward the end, you will be awarded 5 points. So a decent distribution, but it's pretty much, plain Jane. You make it through, you earn points. That's what you really need to do overall in the scheme of things. 5 points per course would be 50 at the very end. Not the worst alternative, but one, as long as you kind of finish the course, I think you're kind of sitting somewhat well. And I am curious, though. I actually intentionally did not want to know if we're doing the same courses or different ones.
Right.
I think it'd be interesting if we change things up. Like I said,
be.
these are our masterpieces, so I'm not sure how easy that is said, rather a lot easier said than done for sure. But I believe we're getting ready to hop into our next game, as we've been discussing, as we've been talking about. And here we go, our first of 10 courses. We're heading toward the map Ultimate. Ooh. And my goodness, KYR Speedy, a very valiant, what was that? I think his second attempt was based off of that alone. Great stuff coming through early.
There's so much to look at. It's like a sensory overload as these players fall. And
he has the route, though. He has the route.
He definitely does. And I did see some water down below, so we will be jumping into water. I know it gets a little bit more difficult as time goes on. We've seen spider webs. We've seen players have to scale into a waterfall. It's not a bad drop from Speedy. And who else is down there? It's going to be Fitz, but if Speedy can make this jump up, the hard part's over. But apparently that jump was even harder than the drop. But I'm excited to see Hey I'm B too, because like I said, Hey I'm B was one of the first players that I got to watch when it comes for Dropper, and I know she knows her way around some of these maps.
Good
and
job,
I think she's
Grande.
a solid player. But yeah, Grande, Dolan Dark, okay, coming through big.
Oh, there's Jack, so he's going to complete this one as well. Still 7 players that have yet to complete the course, and I remember it's kind of funny that we got to check out Grande for the moment as Cryos. I think he caught it. I think he caught it at the end. When your screen shakes, normally that means that you have, in fact, pressed the button. So I think that they are, or he ended up making it. Possibly, I want to say that it's a far distance
either that
away.
Or it's because he's spawning into the other map too.
That's true, but
so.
I want to say there was like still 5 seconds, or rather like 3 seconds left before we entered.
This craziness.
Regardless, yeah.
Oh, now
this is a new one. Okay, full of crafting tables. This is interesting.
When you said these were masterpieces, this is what you meant. An entire sphere of death, or cylinder of death, rather, that you fall down at top speed. And the darkness at the bottom, I like this touch.
Can we get a torch?
Speedy.
We need a torch.
We didn't really get to see a lot of this last week, but the variety in these levels, they always prevent something different. Sometimes it's something that's moving.
Right.
Sometimes you can't see. Sometimes it's deception, using blue wool instead of water.
Ooh.
We see James
There's
Charles
a cloud.
needs to come up big for Techno.
Wait, I think that cloud that's not intended, right? I think that's because of how high up they are. That cloud actually gets in their way. They have no idea where to go.
That's insane, actually.
Thankfully, it's gone now. It has moved, but to no avail. Like that cloud,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was probably a leading effect where a lot of people did not make it through at that moment. But still, only 9 players remaining and 17 seconds left.
And I want to point out, Speedy did
Come on,
make it down
James!
there once again. So Speedy's 2 for 2 currently for his team. Not bad at all. And James still trying to make it. Only 5 seconds left.
Come on,
You see
Dolan!
a couple of these players hitting the water, but can they get to the button in time? We always find one player's not able to make it. I think did he had to have made it. Did he make it?
I want to say
I
his
don't think
body
he
disappeared,
did.
but I don't know. It was at like
disappeared.
it was at 129, or sorry, it was at like 1 second left.
Look
Oh,
at that.
man.
12, 13, 14, 15 people. 6, 17, 21 have already completed it.
Okay.
We aren't even seeing who this is right now.
What?
We're on
What
the
is
very
this
next
one?
one.
What is going on?
29 have completed it already? 30 have completed it? They all completed it that quick? There has
No.
to be something wrong here.
I think that was just maybe
Maybe it was easy.
No, we're on 4 to 10 now.
what in the world just happened? That
All right.
the map
Easy
winning is
points.
the most beautiful one so far. Apparently the easiest, but it's encouraging to know all 30 people come through and they complete it.
Okay, well, all right. And then already on the next course, we got Sponge everywhere. And there goes Preston, already pressing the button on that end. Bad boy Halo. My goodness,
Yeah.
these guys are a bunch of savages.
Come
These
on, bad
people, I
boy.
should say.
I
Excuse me.
believe in you and Skeppy. This is my team.
And we know you're secretly rooting them on, Taylor.
Oh,
we know this.
It's not even a secret. I'm on full send with it. Filza just down below 2. Is how many players have completed so far? So we're up to 21 players who completed. 39 seconds.
Not as easy of a
remaining.
course as this one, but
No, and what's remarkable here is that number went up quick.
Yeah, oh,
there
yeah.
are a much higher than should be number of people who are getting this on their first and second try, and again, it just shows you can't really teach these mini games, right? These just have to be things that you are specifically skilled at, because you can see how close so many of them are getting to the water and not getting it. You have to hit it at a certain angle to make it work, and as we get down to the final 10 seconds, there may be a chance for one more.
Jack Messi trying to get it. Even if he touches water, he's got to get over to that button and not going to be able to do so as time runs out, unfortunately. And we're already on to our 5th dropper.
And Lake pointed out, he's obviously in the chat saying, good luck with this next one. Oh my gosh. So filled with glass, and I think that you may have to like hit something. There's invisible blocks. I want to say that there were some invisible blocks. Obviously, it's glass. It's really hard
Someone
to tell.
completed.
Who completed that?
Someone.
Someone did complete it already. Vicstar hasn't even
Oh my
completed
Techno did it!
Techno.
Oh, how?
Because it's Techno.
It was
Come
like, that was got to be like second or third try. That's insane.
There's literally nothing Techno
Skeppy's
doesn't
got,
know how to
okay,
do.
Skeppy's
Did
got the
Techno
route.
design this course under an alias? Have
He
we
must
considered
have.
that?
It's very possible, right?
That is an interesting
So
concept.
second person's completed. 3 people have. I think a few of them are starting to figure out the routes. There's Jay Schlatt. And I love that. Immediately when people land in, it's a 360 of like, okay, where's the button now? Where's it? I need to press it. So the first 5 have completed it, which means that they were guaranteed, right? Those 10 points, everybody else that completes it will earn just 5. And overall, in the scheme of things, you could argue it doesn't really mean a whole lot. It actually does, right? The points kind of towards the end of things. They've been close up to this extent in terms of the bottom few, but James Charles, constant hearts, just ASMRing our way down. This is lovely.
Techno in the chat
I wanna hear the,
saying,
"Ugh."
oh, now you score points, Chris. Still angry about last week. Techno. Chris firing back. And, man, sadistic.
well, then again-
Trojan horse. I love that.
Chris did say he was going to be his weakness, and that was Keemstar's also strategy too going into it. So did Chris really want to score all those points for Techno? The point was to make it hard for him, so who knows? Chris may have been holding back.
How deep does this conspiracy go is the question. As we
We
see
can write a book.
23 people already done with this one in the first 30 seconds. That's another 3.
There was like 15 instantly, so this was like one of those where it's like I think it's kind of muscle memory after like maybe the first drop or maybe even after.
I think
a little
anything
bit of
after
time
that
to play this
glass
one.
one with the visible blocks would be
Oh
easy.
yeah, absolutely. I think that you're riding high for sure after that one. But hey, I'm B. Jack sucks at life.
2 players left in 40
Clearly
seconds.
not. He's succeeding, not dying,
Is this another
living.
Is this another Dolan Dark sitting on the top bit, maybe?
No, Dolan, I think, did complete it because he's talking in chat and asking if he gets extra points. The answer is no, you do not. And it's going to be Lauren
So we
still
have-
You
at
do
the
for the
top.
top 5, but Top five earn 10. Everyone else earns 5.
Is
so.
Lauren the last one? Lauren
Lauren
is the last one.
last.
How lonely must it be? You've seen
Hey!
Lauren, let's go! So that's the second course we've
Wow.
seen all 30 players make it.
Shout out. That one was not easy. Like off the start, like a few people kind of knew it, but we got to watch that course a little bit. There was a few sneaky little angles at the end that did not make it all too easy. As this one, oh gosh, the Nether region, as we are in it, and what a land comes through from Connor Eats Pants. By the way, gotta be careful. Don't want to get hit by that lava because it looks as
After
if
you
a lot
make
of
it, too.
players are already starting to hit lava. I think you have to go through a lava pit off the start, or maybe you're already on fire.
You're
okay.
already on fire,
So that doesn't
okay.
make anything any easier, that's for sure.
Yes, you're already on fire.
Just all these meteors dropping into water.
It really does look like that. Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Let's go, Grande. He's like, wow, I
Yeah.
made it here. All right.
Let's
Brady
not
looked-
touch
Me and
anymore.
CP.
Didn't Grande hit the lava before he landed too? Which I know you can, but I don't know.
I think if you land in water, it still reads the you being on fire and then puts it out. So as long as you aren't touching both at the same time, I think you're okay. And with just 30 seconds left, we only have 3 people left
man.
on it. So we might see another round. Could we get 3 rounds of everyone completing it? Oh, that's got to hurt.
No, Noodles. Come on. Think about it, Noodles. You got this.
Fried noodles, unfortunately.
You've got this thing, Noodles. I have faith. I've got faith in you and Dan TDM. Oh.
Oh no.
Oh.
He's taking
Yeah.
longer.
And this
9
is going to be
seconds.
so stressful whenever there's like 5 seconds left and you know that you're the last
He didn't
person.
even try.
Oh, no.
He
Think
jumped
Noodles.
straight into like the first block he saw. Yeah.
Good effort.
That's unfortunate.
Good
so,
try.
But still not bad. What, 28 people? Or
That was
it
29.
So
That
it
was 29.
So we have a 30, a 30, and a 29.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. And everybody's just rolling through the pumpkins
24 instantly?
Did I hear an Enderman just now? Did someone look at an Enderman? This is not a good thing. This is not a good situation. 29?
Who's up here? Think Noodles?
Could be.
Oh, no, I thought it. Oh, he landed. Okay.
Okay, I was about to say. So he completes it last twice in a row. It's all good, though. It's all good. We're in the
Okay.
heart of it. I think we're in the middle of a tree. And Vicstar actually realized the strategy. He just went on a few blocks off to the side, and maybe that was the easier angle to go about it. Is someone on fire? I think I saw someone on fire. I don't know how that makes sense.
Fire in a tree does not sound good, Landon.
Definitely not. It's not going to be a tree for much longer.
Getting some great deco tree vibes from this,
Okay.
falling down there.
I like that
No one
reference.
completing it yet. Interestingly enough, 30 seconds, I think this is the longest we've gone without someone completing it. And one of the important things about this level and this mode as a whole is how quickly can you learn? Because it's not enough to just, every time you drop, you have to learn something from it, even if you don't get far, a different angle. And yeah, we're seeing Dan do this now. Is Dan going to try to,
Go slow.
parkour the way down? And no one's
This is
completed
smart.
it yet, so this
This is
might
smart.
be the best attempt, honestly.
This is what I was saying, like when Vicstar was like slowly making his way down the blocks. I thought he had something going, but yeah, Dan, very smart play. This might be the only opportunity to catch the angle. One person did complete it though,
Oh.
and here he goes.
Dan?
This was the play, Dan.
So
Oh,
smart.
what a moment! And Lake already calling out. Vic figured it out. I think that Dan watched Vic, or maybe just had the same idea, and now everyone's starting to follow the process. Lovely idea. I love the change up here. So it's not really about just dropping from the very top to the very bottom. It's about strategy.
It is, and watching the players, and that's the benefit you have. Sure, you can't bump the players and kind of mess with them, but you can observe some of the best in the lobby and see what they're doing, what works for them. And obviously, we saw, of course,
wow.
Vicstar doing it at first. There's a couple of players getting it, 27, and
It's just Grande left. That's it.
There it is. Already in the diamond course, and it's over. And according to the scoreboard, Technoblade, I guess, earned the most points on this one. So
well, that's big.
yeah, obviously that's big, but it's also not the craziest shock, to say the least. This guy is always dominant when it comes down to these game modes, that's for sure. But I'm interested to see how the score may be affected by that, like we talked about. Not a crazy differential based on a few of those courses. I mean, I think we kind of saw the same party kind of make it their way down each and every time, and it's only separated by 5 to 10 points from on certain courses, depending on who kind of made it through. But like we said, guys, another interesting group of dropper games or Drooper maps, if you will. Dropper, I keep saying Drooper. Dropper courses, but it was interesting. And based on our top 10 list, this is where we find ourselves. Vicstar, TBNR Frag, still sitting at the top, 565. But Technoblade and James Charles, I think they were in 3rd, 4th place, something along those lines. So they have risen to that runner-up position.
Not bad at all. And look at Techno Bayesian, all tied up, 4-0-6. And Bad Boy Halo, Skeppy, my favorite, coming out at 4th, 354 points. So to be fair, not bad at all.
Yeah.
No, the gap again between first and second still a lot, but it is early. 3 games down, and we still have 2 PvP modes left, so
That's for sure.
lots of points to be had.
Definitely right. Hunger Games TNT Run Dropper are completed, as we've got Spleef coming up right after this quick commercial break.
Time comes, be ready, don't you hesitate. There's nobody left in the world who could ever shake my faith. Holding me back, holding this back, don't you see? You can count on me, put it down on me, 'cause now it's all on me.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Minecraft Monday, week number 5, as we are live here from the UMG studio. We just completed 3 games. Get ready to hop into our 4th of Spleef. We're excited. Of course, it is Landon Lando Sanders, joined alongside by Reflections and 9-Hole Grains. Guys, kind of at the break, we saw a few teams starting to shift. However, one still remains at the top, at least for the moment. We've got Vicstar and Preston, a.k.a. TV and our Frag, still locking it down. They're, maybe like 100, 130, 140 points away from that second-place spot. So, decently impressive lead. I'm curious if they can hold on to that, though, when it comes to the Spleef, which is a lot different, and we saw quite a bit of shifts happen last week during this time.
And I'm not too sure, but from what I have heard as well, the top layers are going to start decaying, so you're not going to be able to just hang up there, much like you would be for the TNT run. So you're really going to have to prioritize getting those snowballs so you can throw them, and also prioritize your landing down below, because standing up top isn't going to cut it.
Definitely is not, right? Because like we talked about, previously, we didn't really have that be the case. The fact that now that there are rather decaying floors, it kind of adds a new element. Maybe you want to try to jump down a little bit earlier. If that was to be the case, in TNT Run, we maybe see, players start to kind of initialize different strategies. It's also going to make these games a lot faster. I know we were kind of originally planning for a few, then had to kind of shorten it up because of how long the games are starting to last. And the play with high ground dominated every single time. So I imagine that should be changing up a little bit. But here we go. It's time for some Spleef. As we've got a few to look at, few courses in term 3 to be exact, and my goodness, blocks are being destroyed already. To no one's surprise.
Yeah, everybody trying to get those snowballs right, and a good inventory for Skeppy already, sitting at a little bit over 30, close to 40 snowballs himself. As he'll be hanging up, taking some damage onto a player. Thank Noodles passing through. I'm kind of curious how this game is going to end up. Last week we saw a little bit of, or a couple of different strategies. James Charles, I think, tried to walk onto the edge. Maybe you got to stay on the snow.
Could have been intentional. Who knows? Well, we could maybe give that to him. I don't know.
It is shiny, so I can understand why one might want to step on it. But yes, that is not part of the course. And now I wonder what the role is, like the communication between James Charles and Techno at this point, if there is any, saying, stay on this side, I can fall down to you, things like that. Because I do think that there are some fun things that a duo can do if they opt to stick together. As you see right here, Techno trying to bully Preston down and is going to succeed. Looks like did have a nice patch right there to go to, but again, Techno's kind of by himself at this point. We do see Captain Sparkles over there on the side, but see, I believe that the ice blocks show where it's going to cave next, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe that is the truth. Nothing but the truth from 9. Always spitting facts, but still hanging out toward the top side. Like I said, constant fights breaking down. Our last layer currently being shown, and Skeppy, unfortunately, currently finds himself here. The one positive, if you are on the bottom layers, that you don't have to worry about that decaying, at least as of yet, but we even saw quite a few teams last week even try to build themselves an island, which this week I'm not sure how well that would work, because once you get to a certain level, it's going to be very difficult to try and hold on if things are beginning to decay. But players start to fall, you could guarantee yourself some points as players keep on dropping. 21 still up for right now, and a big fight toward the bottom side of Technoblade 2. No one's real surprise. Ends up taking down another that happened to be Speedy, and Speedy honestly has been constantly involved in that conversation in terms of performing in multiple game modes. That could be a roster he and Sidearms to look out for.
Especially in Dropper, Speedy didn't do too bad. He was consistently being one of the top 5 players to get through and land at the bottom. But I did like that play for B. No, you can't. Oh, unfortunately, B can't fly, but the lava just a bit too hot takes her out. But I do want to say that was a good play from Techno coming through. I like the at least how he pinched Speedy onto the edge, and then of course broke his blocks down. Good stuff from Techno. Obviously showing there is real strategy when it comes to this game.
Oh, just Verb.
That's big, too, because, again, just Verb up there involved in that top 3 conversation as well. I'm not sure. I think Techno is more or less, if he's still at the top, he's more or less playing a version of TNT Run at this point, having to hop here, and indeed Techno is trying to figure out where he is still safe to jump to as it goes through. But I believe that James Charles, if James Charles isn't still alive, at least made it into that top through. Is that? No, that's Bajan there in the middle. So this is a big scoring round for them, and they needed this right to get back some of these points. And I'm not sure if Preston is still there either, so this is a chance for them.
It definitely is, right? I think Bad Boy Halo's pretty much getting peppered. Speedy, he's hanging out, and he has the perfect reason, perfect right to do that, at least for now. Sidearms is still up, so I think everyone's kind of locking down their own positions. and not wanting to throw a little bit, rather, don't want to throw too many of those snowballs, right? Sidearms only got 11, and they're actually trying to pepper these up on Technoblade. That might have been a nice little jump and spot angle. And I think right now, if you're Technoblade, well, you're also kind of jumping from block to block, trying to remain at the top for as long as you can. You're also preparing for the fall, right? You want to also make sure that you're jumping on blocks where there is a secondary position. He could also, right, try to come up from behind somebody and take him down. He does have that bird's eye view, and that could easily ruin one of our players' strategies. As Bajan still trying to single out maybe one half to the next. That seems to be the strategy right now.
Oh, wow. A large majority of the map has been totally decimated on the other side. That second layer is going to start decaying as well. I'm surprised Techno is still up on the first layer.
I thought, okay, so he's still up here. I was going to say, I thought he might have jumped down, and oh my gosh, on the third layer, was not expecting to fall at that moment, and immediately as he comes down here, you see shots coming in from Bajan Canadian. They realize the big man to try and drop, and there he goes. A big W for Mr. Minecraft himself. Bajan helps everybody out by taking down Technoblade. The final boss is at least down in game number 1. And that's going to be big, as TBNR Frags is even calling out. Beautiful stuff, Mitch. Very dope, but there goes Bajan right after.
That's a big win, like you said, though, right? Because Bajan sitting there in, I believe, second place at 406 points behind Vic and Preston at 565. So they need all the points they can get. Verb, he wasn't too far behind himself. And now with just 4 players remaining, 3 players on the same level, 1 just above. And that's going to be Sidearms, believe it or not playing so bad. And Speedy would, in fact, be proud, but Sidearms trying to think about his overall strategy. And we've seen how long players can stay up here despite the decay. Techno was on that first level for the longest time. So honestly, no rush for Sidearms to get crazy here.
And I'm beginning to wonder maybe if the strategy here is dropping down a little bit earlier, like you guys were kind of saying there, because if you notice, the people who were under Techno's level there had absolutely no incentive to hit each other at all. They were just waiting for Techno to drop. They're like, okay, he has to come down eventually. We'll save our snowballs, and if he does fall, we'll just pepper him then. And, of course, he did fall 2 levels there. But I think that there is
Oh, what a shot!
to jumping down on your own terms so that doesn't happen.
Shout out to Dan TDM. What a shot with that snowball. We were giving a lot of props to Sidearms, and for good reason, but managed to take him down from the top layer. And here is Bad Boy Halo trying to get a few more snowballs in his inventory. It takes a look back, and there's not a whole lot of things to stand on as our final 2 players begin to duel. Dan as well, somewhat low on snowballs, can go and toss out a few and creates a nice thin line, but here comes Bad Boy Halo trying to take him down, but Dan still quite a few blocks to stand on, but unfortunately runs a little bit too far to the edge, and that will give Bad Boy Halo his first game. And that's a big win for these boys, right? They're constantly performing in that top conversation, Ian Skeppy, as that is going to be game number 1 in the books. And like I said, props to him, right? Manages to come out on top again.
Not bad. They're sitting at 354 points. They need all the points they can get.
Yeah, if they want to keep themselves up close. And that's really the deal right now is it's not enough to score well. You have to still be scoring better than the team that's in first place right now. You have to find ways to make up points against them. As we see Philza already down here, so is Skeppy here. So I don't know if this is a strategy or just an unfortunate start for them, but seeing them all down here this early, Grande going to have a real rough go of it as well. This is already looking pretty scary. Plenty of people on that 3rd level.
Looking at Bad Boy, and I'm thinking he's sitting low on snowballs, but he doesn't continue to mine. And I've kind of noticed maybe at the beginning, Philza was doing a great job with just mining as much as he could. Not necessarily even for the snowballs, but maybe to, kind of catch a lot of players off guard, remove as much of that top layer as possible. And that's what I would be doing. I would be trying to remove as many blocks as I possibly could, so unsuspecting people would, fall through them. That would kind of be my strategy overall. You're going to get the snowballs regardless if you're going through and destroying, but with the max being 16, I guess you kind of just have to stop and start throwing, but because, snowballs destroy blocks as well. So I don't know. Interesting stuff coming out, interesting strategies, and I'm kind of curious to see what's going to happen as Phil's in a top position. And Venom applying pressure, and look at this Philza. Plenty of snowballs to throw.
Like an automatic machine gun.
And Venom's still staying up as he focuses his attention. Now Philza on to another player, but he's getting close to that edge, and he's running out of places to run as he gets hit, but just avoids the lava.
Oh, wow. What a play from Philza. Pretty much Indiana Jones is his way toward the other side of the course, and normally throwing in esports is not a good thing, but here it actually is somewhat of a positive, that's for sure. So good stuff from Philza, like we were talking about, had so many snowballs, the enemy was not prepared, and I almost feel like, looking at his point of view, everyone is going for this guy, but my goodness, he's taking out major chunks of this bottom level and looking to try to take down Chris O2, of course, featured in Mr. Beast videos. He could be sent to the depths, and he absolutely will. Chandler's here, TBNR Frags is here, and after the entirety of this lower level, teamed up on him at the end. That was a big win for everybody, that's for sure. Philza was looking unstoppable for the longest time.
Can we just say that that was a brilliant move by Preston, too, to not even worry about the snowballs, just say, you're hopping around? Spleef, spleef, spleef. All righty. I'm going to take away that
I need to hear that one again. Let's hear it overtime.
Just a little spleef, spleef, spleef.
Oh, that needs to be the sound effect, literally, whenever you go.
Was,
with the spleefer getting snowballs, it needs to make that sound effect.
God,
Techno just took an early dive there, too, from 2 layers up. So another big one there. I believe James Charles is gone as well, so that'll be a lot of points still on the table for them. And now people are starting to fall down. As we see Sidearms once again, Speedy and Sidearms, their improvement over the course of these Minecraft Mondays have been remarkable.
Well, like Landon said, they're the original duo, and it makes sense, especially whenever you play consistently together. And even go back to Friday Fortnite, you know, Speedy and Sidearms was the duo, but Sidearms unfortunately getting taken out. And why? Well, because we were talking about him, and that's why he falls into the lava. But Speedy still remains, only 5 players up.
I think that fits maybe from afar, and yeah, there goes another, down to our final 4 players, and Bad Boy Halo happens to be one of them, along with Skeppy, who, of course, we recognize, right, that diamond skin. So that's a big moment for these guys, considering that Bad Boy Halo obviously walked away with that last game. They've at least got 2 in the top 4, and they could be going for doubles as Bad Boy Halo was shifting on the blocks. That's not how to do this, right? Obviously tried to absorb a few of the snowballs, but did not have that many blocks left to stand on. Regardless, he holds on to the blows and still carries on, and now everyone's focused, right? They're saying, okay, we've got a few more players up. There's only 3 of us on this bottom level, but where's the 4th player? Where's that 4th guy at? And look at this. On the very top side, who is that? Who is that? That's Jerome. I was going to say, I thought that skin looked a little bit familiar. Where is Jerome at?
Jerome's on the very top level, literally just hanging out on the edge. And
on the 2nd layer. Cool.
He's got a lot of room to work with, too.
And they can't even see him. They have no idea, because of how high up he is, they have no idea where he's at.
They were looking up. They knew, but they had no idea where he was.
Well, they can wait right now, too, because it's going to be a long time before the layer that they are on starts to go. Jerome goes.
Skeppy has no idea.
Was that an attack or an accident?
I think it was an attack because Skeppy was not ready for it, and unfortunately, it comes down to a 1v1 of players. Kind of a Hunger Games situation, and Skeppy says, I want it. I need a victory, Bad Boy. You got the victory last time. But what a W this is for this roster, right? But as a team, back-to-back victories.
Skeppy.
And they got the most amount of points that a team can get.
Yeah, you can't complain with that. That is the way to go about it. And mind you, they're still gaining points despite winning or not after every survival point. So great stuff coming from them. And a lot of players that we saw from the TNT run not necessarily ending up at the top here. So it does obviously show there are major different strategies when it comes down to it. But I have noticed when it comes to throwing snowballs, you got to watch out, especially towards the final fight, as Jay Schlatt's going to fall down, and I hope he's still on a bottom layer. I know there's one more just below him. But you don't want to get caught off guard jumping from block to block, because if you get hit with a snowball and you get stunned in the air, you're falling straight down.
Quite a few players trying to single out TBNR Frags right now. Like you said, the common strategy really has kind of been this influx of snowballs, and especially kind of toward the outside. That has been the major call, and be careful. Preston got a little bit nerve-wracking as I think Doodles fell from floor 1 to floor 3. So he and Dan TDM could be going through somewhat of adversity, as everyone looking to try and take down the dynamic duo as of this moment, at least when it comes down to Spleef, Bad Boy Halo, and Skeppy. And look at this strategy, right? This is what we saw last time around.
B.
And it looks as if I'm B and Grape Applesauce have started to go and hold on to Jerome's strategy, which is hang out on the outskirts, hang on the very outside of the first level. And it got him to 2nd place, so, I mean, hey, why not?
I like seeing this strategy. This is a smart one to do, as Jack Messie's trying to get into the mix here and bring down, hey, I'm B. And she says, Grape, we need to work together as a team. Let's make this happen. They're going to be on the same blocks, but this does worry me, right? Because eventually they're going to be fighting because those blocks are going to decay, and they both can't stand on the same block per se. So they've got to make a decision. As Preston's still alive, he was one of the earliest players up top, and of course he goes down as we talk about him. But he lasted a while, especially because he dropped so quickly.
He did, and who else but Techno going over there to try to take him out. I think you talk about finding ways to score points against your opponent. That is one way to do it. We'll see right there. It looks like still a couple running around there. Still 13 players left. Jerome, once again, going to employ the strategy of wait and be a turret if anybody tries to approach me here. Got to be careful, though. Does opt to hop out here. A patented strategy as we see Skeppy once again hiding around here. And again, now they're starting to move in on Jerome as one goes down, falling into Jerome's trap. The last one going to immediately run back away like, yeah, you know what? You clearly are on a different level than me right now. We're just going to let this one be.
And Sidearm's actually doing some damage. And yeah, so while his teammate Speedy ends up dropping toward the 3rd level, he's still hanging on, at least for now, and may have to face off now against Filza. And maybe not prepared for it. Yeah,
no.
Perfect strategy coming in from Sidearms. The flank ends up coming through, and we're noticing the decay has entered in toward that 2nd level. But that's not a worrisome factor right now for Jerome. He's just hanging out, spectating much like we are.
I always love, and I've kind of been noticing this time and time again, when the players drop to another level, they always pause. They observe the surroundings just to make sure they really didn't fall into the lava. And that's kind of one of the things that they've been doing constantly. And I don't see Hey I'm B, but I do see Grape Applesauce still up here, one of the original players starting from the top, hanging out for the time being.
So confused.
Oh, there's B. So B is on the final level, and snowballs are raining in.
What?
She's on the edge. She's got to be careful.
That's 2 in the top 5 for them, though, so this is going to be their best scoring round by far. And, yeah, going to wait right here, carve a little island out. I like it. Identify who is above you, and I think they found the strategy here. We'll see. Just Verb still alive. That's going to be big points for the Invasion Canadian. And I believe,
Spleef.
who do we have? Spleef. So do we have one of the Speedy or Sidearms still left? Yeah, Sidearms
Surely,
still
yeah.
here. And Grape Applesauce now finally falling down this level. So that's going to be 2 in the top 4 for them. Great work.
Grape Applesauce, unfortunately, does not have a whole lot
Oh, she's
of
charging.
snowballs, and B can't hold on to the position. So Speedy's seeing success on the lower level. It's Sidearms who's still dueling up top, and I'm sure they're going to communicate to each other, try to single out the one enemy that remains.
FPS, this should be a strength, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, right? You got the multitude
Oh.
of numbers, and Grape Applesauce
He's been spotted.
trying to hold on. Only 2 snowballs, and that's the worrisome part, is since these blocks are beginning to be destroyed, you don't want to take down too many because that allows for all of your real estate to pretty much go out the door. And here comes Speedy on the lower level. Like we said, Sidearms still up top. They should absolutely single out, maybe give a call out if you're Sidearms, right? Let Speedy know exactly where Applesauce happens to be. And they're going to be double teaming right now. So coming from the top side and the lower side, however, Grape Applesauce is still hanging on.
It's funny. Techno now is joining at least the side of the players, talking to others, saying, hey, go to Speedy, beat him up. And this is exactly what everybody was doing to Techno. So it's kind of nice to see Techno getting back on some of the players who were doing it to him a little bit earlier. So the tides have definitely turned. But Grape Applesauce, not a bad player, at least this round. Doing considerably well. Dropping some players down below with some snowballs, but he drops to the final level, and it comes down to this. Just 3 players. We have Speedy, Grape Applesauce, and one more just straggler sitting around as we are now out of snowballs. And we're going down, and I've been waiting for something like that. It always has just been snowballs, but the Spleefer comes through big, and it was vicious.
Oh,
And
they're
here
going to do it
we
at the same
are.
time. They're going to do it at the same time, I'm sure. They're gonna try to
This
destroy
could be
each other's blocks.
beautiful.
love
This could be beautiful.
I'll do it. Come on. They're going to count down, surely. 3, 2, 1, and who's going to do it? They're going to let everybody know who just won this game. And back-to-back matchups, right? We see a team come through. It's really just been a matter of holding on, right? Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy in terms of that game number 2. And now
Titanic.
Sidearms and Speedy. And there it goes. Sidearms says a farewell. And Speedy there to join up. And that's a big win for those boys because they've been consistent, right? They've been looking very, very good. And maybe the new strategy for the next few weeks may be, hey, as a team, hang out, right? Don't play super aggressive. Don't try to go for the elims directly. Try to hang back, which seemed to be the key of success for a lot of our rosters, right? Only 2 teams in total won these 3 games. It was Bad Boy Halo in game 1. It was Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy, but Skeppy ended up taking game 2. And then at the end, it was Sidearms and KYR. So interesting.
Tear to my eye seeing how that ended.
So someone put Titanic, and then instantly the only thing I heard was the Titanic ending or the Titanic song as they were going down. Honestly, that's great content. Make that into a video.
My spleef will go on.
I like you. You come up with you come up with some good things, man.
Oh, I'm here all Monday and Friday, so
thank you. I'll be here every Monday and Friday.
No, great work to them. I'm curious to see the swing because we didn't see Vicstar and Preston there at the end in a lot of those games. We did see Skeppy as well as Bad Boy Halo. We'll see. I hope that the gap is closed at least a bit. It was about 150 points last time, so any amount that they've pulled in on that will be a victory for all these teams that are currently chasing, as I believe we will have that up here soon. And I believe our next one is a Battle Royale mode as well, if I'm not mistaken. So big points, and take a look right there. Albeit just by a bit, the gap is closed, and look at 2 through 4, a point separating them.
That is very, very interesting. And we talk about, these kind of 2, 3, 4 teams, they have had a lot of success, even when it came down to the the earlier stages in terms of guys like Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy. Same thing with Beige Canadian. I know this is Verb's first tournament, but those 2 through 4 teams, they have seen success when it comes down to the the Hunger Games type style, and obviously when it relates to Battle Arena, kind of the same concept. So they definitely could be changing up, but when it comes down to the very first Hunger Games mode, which, like we talked about, is similar to Battle Arena for the most part in terms of how the PvP worked. It was Vicstar and Preston who ended up winning that game, and they're the team that currently sits at the top side. So I'm curious if we could see more of a shift. But that 2 through 4, we were talking about how separated these teams are after game number 1. This is the biggest kind of point differential that we've seen. And after a few games, this might be the closest that we've seen a clump of players get to. So a massive change-up now that a few of these mini games have started to come through.
Absolutely so. And I think it's more competitive even more so than last week. And I am encouraged to see Speedy and Sidearms coming up in the mix as well over there in 5th place. Not bad from them because this might be their best placing week so far, and they continue to get better and better as the weeks go on. So you love to see that, especially if you're a fan of them. I know, Legion, if you were watching this, I know you'd be supporting your boys over there. But now moving into Battle Arena, it's going to be interesting to say the least because, Hunger Games obviously plays a huge factor into this whenever it comes to these players playing. And it's all based on just getting the eliminations. People try to survive. They can dig down into the ground if they try to. But for the most part, the ending was pretty exciting last week, I have to say.
It absolutely was. And to quickly answer your question, their highest placement, Sidearms Speedy, was 12th in week number 1.
So 5th place?
Absolutely.
You're doubled.
You're totally banking on this week up to this point. And as you were kind of referring to at the end, right, Battle Arena, I'm excited for this, right? I'm excited to see what the strategies were. We kind of watched them start to develop when it came down to mid, obviously how influential that portion of the map happens to be, obviously because of a number of different things, and everyone ends up dropping. Where does all the loot go? It goes in mid. Every single item goes right back toward middle. So another big factor when we talk about Hunger Games obviously has to do with enchanting and the enchanting table. Now you get the enchanting table plus every single bit of loot that happens to fall across the map, which makes this this mode very, very exciting. And to maybe even go over a few more of the points, how you can obviously earn some score when it comes down to this game. Or in terms of the scoring system, it will be 10 points per elimination, 30 points for the first place team, 10 points for the second place team, and 6 points for third, along with 2 points per surviving. And the interesting thing is that we will be having a new area this week, so a new kind of position to look around with, and that could definitely change up the strategies, maybe even change up the placements, if you will, as we're already in it. And as we talk about, right, you get, rather at least up to this point, you've got 7 minutes to craft the best items that you possibly can. Maybe you send a few people over towards certain areas. Like we said, you start off with some stone tools, but maybe you designate a teammate to try to go toward the low ground. Look for some iron, look for some diamond, hang up someone in the higher ground to scout out a few people. That was a number of different calls, a lot of different strategies that we saw from last week, but all blocks are enabled.
And, outside of bingo, this might be the most luck-based of all the modes that we have, right? Because you could dig, and you could dig, and you could just not find that much iron. Sure. And we are so used in Minecraft Hunger Games to seeing full sets of iron. And that's really not all that realistic to get in 7 minutes if you're just going here in vanilla Minecraft. So we see James, Charles, and Techno looking out here, trying to find somewhere to find the best possible weapons to craft. I'm sure lots of chatting being done right here. But again, this is what makes this such a unique and interesting mode to play, because you can go looking for a chasm maybe. You can try to find some iron there. Maybe even get a little lucky and find some diamond if you will. But we look, guys, what's the first rule of Minecraft?
Don't dig straight down. And next to a body of water too. So if that kind of comes over, you have to be swimming your way back up very quickly. But I have to say, there is definitely some real strategy when it comes to this, as I think we just took some fall damage.
And also some explosive damage as well. I think Kairos has to be careful with that zombie who seems to not be exactly sure where to check for next. And oh, right in his face! Thankfully, like we talked about, they do have those stone swords, so it's going to help him out a decent amount. But like we talked about, okay, so he answered the call. He says, okay, not one down, I'll do two, which actually is not a bad call by any means. You're going to be able to learn some valuable information. And thankfully for him, right, he does have a chasm, a cave just toward his bottom side. And with all those train tracks everybody knows in those paths, you have the opportunity to see quite a bit of chests, quite a bit of opportunities loot down there as well. So could be a really good spot here for Donnie Bobes and co. But this does take some time away. It looks as if Fitz, Kairos being very careful and not intentional, but hey, it allows for them to find that chasm, thankfully, to the creeper, and they found some iron ore, which is going to be nice.
As we have seen so often how much just having an iron sword as opposed to a stone sword can turn the tide of battle.
Yeah.
And once that PvP enabled goes away, right? Once that opens up, everything is on the table. We saw some sky islands last week. We saw a number of different ways to hold the middle area to force people into bad situations. And like you were saying earlier, Landon, the scores that you can get in this are pretty significant. So it makes this first 7 minutes almost like it's a game show, right? Find all the best stuff that you can real quick. And then after you've gathered all of your ingredients, you come in and make a big, nice stew of destruction and Minecraft PvP. So
Stew of destruction. I
see
like
right here. And right now trying to build up as much, I believe, as they can experience for enchantments. If I had to take a guess here. I know that the spiders will give them a chance to build a bow.
Poor sheep.
But that too. So
Vixtar's like, yeah, I'll go and take that. Do I really need it? Maybe not, but I mean, hey, Vixtar is slaying everything in sight. This is a very scary individual, that's for sure. As unfortunately for everybody else, right? Only 3 minutes and 50 seconds left before PvP is enabled. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be seeing every team kind of go out there and be super, kind of involved in that conversation. They're not necessarily going to rush for everybody, but to no avail.
look at what Bajan just missed.
Yeah.
He missed a link into a cave system.
Oh no!
Right
That
above.
is so unfortunate.
You never
a block
know, though.
away, literally a block away.
And I was kind of wondering if that was going to happen to us, because, I mean...
Oh, he's typing too. That's so
no,
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Can we type to Bajan? We're probably not
It's
allowed
like,
to do that.
Go back up a couple blocks. Hey, just swing up and you'll be okay. But he's not going to find anything, unfortunately. That is. Hey, that's a risk you take,
my
right?
gosh.
When you dig straight down.
I always get deceived by Skeppy's skin. I thought that I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy already has diamond. I will
Full
say
diamond.
that used to be a strategy, and that may be the reason, obviously, for the skin. We could go back and maybe try to figure that out. But hey, if you look at least from afar that you like to have diamond, I don't want to engage with that. Like that could be somewhat of a strategy from long range. You're trying to peek with your eyes. Like, wait, what does that
that's
guy
fair.
exactly have?
That's fair. Why would you, right? You're not going to engage on just full diamond, especially if you don't have it yourself. I mean, you just...
Yeah, intentional or not, it works.
You're going to get eliminated. Vicstar finally done killing spiders for the meantime, as someone's on fire over there, unfortunately. But Vicstar is going to be heading out. And I want to say Vicstar, by the way, remember last week with James Charles, was kind of one of the early players to build a sky base. And we're probably going to see that earlier on. And we started seeing these sky bases being connected. It was really fun to watch Mongrel build as high as he did, right? Being, from Fortnite, getting that high ground. He did exactly
Put himself
that.
on the 1 by 1.
He did. Oh, we're so close to lava right here.
Is Bajan going to miss the nice, good, happy cave system and
Go
instead dig
straight
right into lava?
Oh, my gosh.
Be careful, Bajan. He knows, right? He's obviously not doing the 1 by 1s. He's making something happen. He's going to go for the coal, maybe grab a few torches, but to no avail. Okay, so he's going to dodge at least for now. So my goodness, this is just god tier Minecraft. this is intensity at this moment. But look at this. Okay, so
That's 64 iron.
at the very lowest of low ground, TV Nar Frags currently finds himself in the midst of a tree, and like you mentioned, 64 iron ore. That is more than enough
Where?
for everything.
How?
I have no idea. Does he know the glitch about Minecraft? Is that I mean, he obviously plays a ton. Everyone knows, right? Preston plays a ton of Minecraft, and obviously, I don't even know. Does he have more stone than iron, or maybe? Well, no, because Victor's on the top grade. I was going to say if he and Vic were down there, it makes more of a case. But the fact that he found that by himself, because Vic's is we know, right? He's slaying everything in sight on the high ground or on the main level. The fact that he's found that many is almost
it's
scary. Like if PvP wasn't able, okay, that makes sense. If he had his teammate, yeah, okay, it makes sense. Doesn't have either of those things.
Unless we missed something from Vicstar off the beginning before he started slaying out. Maybe he found something and kind of handed it over and said, "Hey, you go ahead and create everything." But that is pretty rare to see that much, at least in this format, right? Just under what, 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes.
In 7 minutes, he found 64.
You know what? I'm really Let's dig over this. We'll be fine. But you know, I'm really starting to think that maybe this time won't be the time that Vicstar opts for the sky based. If you have that much iron ore, it's hunting season.
And at 64, that's enough confidence to put yourself inside a middle, right? That was the biggest thing we were talking about, is which team is confident enough to make their presence known when it comes down the middle, because that is pretty much a step in saying, hey, yeah, we feel like we have the best kit. If not, we feel like we have the best PvP on on the server. And I think this would give them that guarantee. This would give them that confidence without question. And I think for a moment, Vicstar looked and he was like staring at the the amount of iron that happened to be in those furnaces and was like, really? Like, you managed to do this? Unbelievable. But just Verb looks as if he's also fighting quite a bit of items. And I want to say that, diamonds!
Are you kidding
Bajan!
me?
Look, there's a crazy amount of diamonds here, too. That's a very nice clump.
That's going to be at least...
I've never said that sentence before. Very nice clump.
You have a very nice clump.
Well, that's
of diamonds there.
That's going to be enough for at least 2 weapons, too. And that's a big deal, especially in a mode like this. Where a big clump.
Thank you.
We've come up with so many great words. A shout of rain, a clump of diamonds.
Oh, okay.
Everything is up. As PvP is finally enabled, and now, soon...
See, I thought that last week, someone typed in chat saying that Lapis was replaced for Iron, which meant that it was a lot easier to find. But I just saw Lapis on Bajan's screen next to the a few other items, a few other blocks that were around the area. So I'm not sure if maybe Iron has been turned up a little bit. I'm almost positive that's the case. But still, regardless, to find 64 is absurd.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a major vein, like you would have to find, right?
Oh,
which typically
the fact that, and it'd be different, like you find it, okay, you know, whatever. But the fact that he found it within, what was it 5 minutes? There were 6 minutes.
About
that's
6.5
crazy.
minutes, yeah.
He must have found a cave. I mean, there's no way he did not find a cave, or I have no idea. And like I said, Teaming Our Frags, a new type of player, and okay. Oh, that scared me a little bit, like everyone else.
Hello there, friend.
How's it going, buddy? What's his name, Taylor? What do you think?
I always like naming things Bob.
Okay, Bob's pretty solid.
I just like the name Bob.
I respect that. Yeah.
Why? I have no idea. I had a fish one time, a piranha, named it Bob.
You actually had a piranha?
I had a piranha. And then
what? Oh, my gosh. Wait.
We had a tadpole in there and named it Fred.
Look at this.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Dig War. I can't. Oh, Dolan. I don't think
Dolan
has
no
any idea.
Oh, and Bajan. The slay! Dolan totally caught off guard. There's no way he could have known that that was going to happen in the dark. And Bajan just sneaks up behind him. And he was also shifting, so he obviously can't see the name. But Bajan, what a slay and what a kill. That's our first one, I think, of the entire game. Doesn't even come from the high ground. It comes from a number of different caves that were right next to each other. And you notice those torches that are placed just above, that could be where his teammate happens to be lying as well. So Grande could also be spotted here shortly. But a big win for Bajan, right? It's a free 10 points you just earned.
Bajan is like digging some crazy tunnels. Like he has literally dug all
Mr.
the way
Minecraft,
under.
Man.
He definitely is, but he's got to be worried about the zone 2 moving in. So that's something to kind of think about, especially if you're going to be that deep underground. The zone moves in. You've got a lot of passageways to go through.
This took some time, ladies and gentlemen. We all know. This took some time. And, yes, shout out to Yami. Production is letting us know that they really appreciate the torches because obviously it allows for us to see a lot better. Because obviously when you're in the dark, hey, you can't really see too much. It's rather unfortunate. Who's ever heard of light, right? So props to Yami. Earn a few extra points possibly. But look at this. Team that currently finds himself in first place. They won the first Hunger Games map. And now they are roaming, and it looks as if they might have spotted another team that actually has iron as well. And with that bow shot, they actually haven't heard anything. Kairos, turn up the headset, turn up the audio, as they were totally on the flank, and they're going to single him out.
Oh,
they're going to try to single up, but he
they
actually tried to box
dug
himself in. And that is actually one of the worst positions to try and do.
Oh, no.
Because he can't escape. I understand the idea behind it, but regardless, though, can't escape. And there goes Kairos, and his teammate is nowhere to be found.
He would have had a better chance opening his shop. Looked like he was a shopkeeper at that point.
Wait, is that his teammate?
Fitzy?
It's Fitz. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, that's his teammate. So manages to narrowly escape, and little to no avail. They couldn't find him, but unfortunately, I think is trying to make a flank and frags. TBNR might have spotted him. Why are they getting out of the?
I think now, as rough as that was, Vicstar was below half health at this point, and it does look like Fitzy is decently kitted out. Maybe thinking, all right, you know, it's more important that we both go the distance on this one, right? Let's go back. Let's get our enchants. Let's play our game from here. Going after that,
and there's
Elim
Fitz,
and getting
so
one down probably would have hurt them, because again, they're thinking if we slay out here, if we get these points, it won't matter how we do in our next few mini games. We will be A-okay. Because, again, we've seen how many points you can pile up in one of these. And now there is the Lapis. We talked about that. There's at least one enchantment that we've got. And poor Fitzy opting to say, you know what, there are some behemoths up there. Let's just eat some steak and go anywhere else but up there.
Yeah, steak dinner would be nice. Maybe his last meal, if you will. Got to be very careful with the situation at hand and just trying to get a unique perspective, right? And oh my gosh, do not tell me this is Bajan again. I think. And Grande, of course, Dolan Dark was just taken down in a cave.
He's going down.
And here we go again. But Grande's ready for it. Bajan, who's going to win this fight? And it will be Bajan just enough. Takes down both players in the midst of a cave, and that is what you love to see, right? Another slay coming through. Oh my gosh, Bajan Canadian is not one that you want to mess with, but let's keep in mind, right? A lot of the resources that you do take down, I'm not sure. I don't think they're coming down to middle anymore.
He hit that?
What?
Are you kidding me? Preston with the snipe onto Speedy.
Taylor, what'd I tell you? We were watching old Black Ops 2 PC footage of my man TBNR frags.
Black Ops 2, yeah. He's a beast, apparently so.
He's not one to mess with. He's actually going to be soaring through the trees right now, pulling a Tarzan. And that's going to alarm everyone in the area. And unfortunately for Yami, constant shots, 3 for 3, and even fired off a 4th at the enemy that existed just off in the distance. But to no avail. This is a very scary roster. So, yeah, keeping in mind now, I actually didn't know this, so it looks as if the loot that you take from someone you actually do earn does not go inside a middle. So that does allow for middle to not play as much of a centerpiece as it has previously, which I'm personally a fan of. But
Fitz.
There goes Fitz. Another slay, another frag, and more iron, which they definitely don't need right now.
And here's the replay. This was insane. So look at from that distance, knocks Speedy off the block.
That was the instant limb, right? So
instant, and that player was already trying to build up for late game, and unfortunately falls just a bit short. Look at that. That is some accuracy you love to see. And you know, after that, of course, onto Yami too.
Oh, they're going after Techno now. James Charles got taken out early too.
Right.
So we'll see here. This is rough. Poor Techno gets stuck.
Of course he is Ender Pearl.
Oh, but it didn't land.
Wow.
That might have
Where did he find the Ender Pearl? Those aren't like just lying around everywhere.
That might have decided the whole tournament.
Well, mind you too, Vic, Preston in first place. Oh, the lava. Who just dropped Connery Pants? Skeppy. Let's go, Skeppy.
Oh, Skeppy, though. He's just being toyed with right now.
Skeppy.
Hiding in trees, hiding on the shoreline. As that's a big, frag to find. We talk about Skeppy and Bad Boy Halo, who's actually getting countered as well with that zone moving in progressively. This is a top-tier team that saw a lot of success when it came down to Spleef. If they were to be taken down, that's only going to distance, if you will, the team that obviously sits in first place. But just for Urban Bajan Canadian, a roster that may be making a lot of strides in this game mode based off Bajan's early play. And it looks as if TBNR for action from the low ground. Vicstar is going for the challenge, and he's going to try to maybe come around from the side, grab a little bit of that excess loot, and jogging alongside of his teammate here shortly. But the confidence for them to split like that, we always talk about this constantly in Fortnite. There's like a grown confidence that exists whenever you're willing to split with your teammate, knowing what their capabilities are. And the fact that he was willing to do that is very impressive. However, TBNR Frags has to be careful, right? There's 2 enemies just in front of him. A majority have some iron, and they know that he's here. Decides to go and utilize the flint steel, the fire, the flames.
Oh, the zone
is going to burn this one down. And yeah, Chris02 and Chandler, they're here. They're doing it for Mr. Beast. But right now, it looks as if Vicstar comes from above. What communication What a play! We had no idea, even from our perspective, that Vikkstar was around the area. My word, a Batman and Robin, if you will. And continuing on with the references, the Jeff Hardy, the Swanton Bomb was fantastic.
2 players off in the tree. The zone is going to engulf them. But for the most part, they're still safe as the high ground for Beijing Canadian.
They
And
gotta
that's going to
utilize
be
this.
Preston. And Preston down below Vikkstar 2. If Beijing wins this, that's massive because they currently sit in 4th place at 507 points. They could quickly catch up and at least get close to overtaking Vic and Preston in 1st.
But the one thing that's caused a lot of teams to struggle versus Vikkstar and Preston has been their bow, right? It has been their archery skills. And unfortunately for Beijing Canadian, he's getting tagged up from the side by a skeleton who's up toward this level. So thankfully taken down, but to no avail. That's been the one thing that's really helped them out a lot. We know how accurate Preston can be.
It's going to be a tough ground to cover.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, totally low ground to high ground, but no, they made their way up. And like I said, that is a massive credit to themselves. I think it's going to be a frag that's going down, and Vikkstar wins it versus Bad Boy Halo, another top-tier team that is taken down. And now we're down to our final 9. 2 very dominant squads, though, still exist.
Are there any sky bases right now? Because I don't think there are. I think everybody's on ground. Which, much different than last week that we saw as another engagement
That's a
going
diamond
down.
sword.
And Preston backing up 2 hearts. He's got to recover himself. He does have plenty of food, unfortunately.
What a play from Verb, the
Verb
ultimate
comes through,
3P.
and Verb and Beijing needed this. And Vic now on the run as Verb not stopping, taking out Hey, I'm B, and then maybe shortly after going to take out Grape as Vikkstar frags no more. They go down, and that's going to be a huge bump to them. And I was talking about this team in the tree, right? And there they are.
Captain Sparkles and Ant Venom. The OGs watching from above. You
With
love to see it.
Stake in hand.
Yeah, they're ready, right? They don't want to engage. They know how good these newer ages, if you will. I got to say, like Beijing Canadian, obviously teammate. Not necessarily the newer age, but regardless, though, carrying of a torch, and they're just enjoying it, right? Kind of like the 2 old men in the Muppets. They're just kind of having a great
Two
time
old men
making
in
some
the Muppets.
jokes.
I like that.
They're having
Bringing
a
it
great
back.
time up
I
here.
was going to say, how many dated references have you made today? Gosh.
Sorry. I'm an old man at heart. I really do. I was actually talking to my girlfriend the other day about how I randomly fall asleep in the most random locations.
Oh, no, you are an old man.
I did. I fell asleep on a bench the other day
Oh,
at the
wait,
mall.
there's an Enderman now in play as well.
Yeah, let's get away from myself.
An
That's terrible.
Enderman walking into the battle right now.
Welcome
You
to
wonder
my
if
life.
that's going to have anything to do. So Jerome
Oh,
is hiding here, not very well kitted out, but
he's sending a text over to Beijing right now like, hey, I'm totally not right next to you.
hey, buddy, I'm not here.
People in the trees. Jerome just down below.
No,
So there's
Grape,
more?
I believe. Grape is hiding on the other side as well, next
Oh
to
my
the
gosh.
Enderman.
Oh, gosh.
Look it in the eyes. Do it.
Don't. Please
Do it.
Look it in the eyes and then immediately run into battle.
Oh, that is smart.
Oh, 100%. That'd actually be really interesting. You'd almost have like a... Wait a second.
Did that just get dropped on?
Okay, I was going to say, so what I was thinking was that if Beijing hits that, the Creeper's going to know that someone is down there, and that would have totally exposed Jerome if he wouldn't have been careful, but all these mobs just toward the low ground.
Bob lives on.
Yeah, like he was even saying it 5,000 years later. It's taken a while. It's been the grind. It's Captain Sparkles and Ant Venom. They're still hanging out. Just Verb and Beijing maybe getting a little bit aggressive, getting annoyed with how passive this game has been so far. And,
That's a hit.
yeah, hitting some nice shots there.
Just hanging out.
Can they not burn the trees down? Is that not?
I don't know. That's a good point, actually.
Someone had a bucket of lava.
Oh, that would not be fun to face off. Oh, man. This
Bucket
is
of
where
lava with
Jerome
low
was
ground?
at. And Beijing says, I think I've spotted somebody. I think I know. Oh, it's not Beijing, actually.
Grape.
It's Grape on the other side. And Grape's doing quite a bit of damage right now to Beijing. He may realize this is his chance,
he
but
fell.
the bucket of water. The bucket of water. That I don't know if that was a play from Verb to maybe distance him out.
Oh,
as
what a
Beijing
shot!
from long range. The Hail Mary takes down Ant Venom on the tree as these two are just constantly taking down opponent after opponent. These guys deserve some fireworks. My goodness, but look at this on the other side. There actually is a fight going down. Captain Sparkles is still taking HP loss, but there goes
Oh, the
Grape.
fall damage. The fall damage.
Oh,
He's
he
still
hangs on.
alive.
Right into a creeper, though.
Oh, my goodness.
Get ready for the explosion, folks. Oh,
Oh, he's gone.
he is
he's-
making the run for
Oh,
his life.
my
Look
gosh,
at the mobs.
there's so much.
Grape applesauce. Be careful. Oh, no. This is not looking good. Look at this.
Grape. Grape, get out of there.
The cow's going to fend off for him. Surely.
Now, what's remarkable is
Oh,
if,
another one.
if Grape somehow makes it up to the enchantment table,
Oh my
he'll
gosh.
be able to enchant that diamond sword nice and easy.
Oh my
but
gosh, look at this. This is 4 creepers are on him, and here comes Bajan Canadian. Maybe going to rescue him from this Shirley Verb. They realize the situation at
A
hand. He does
spider.
have that flint and steel. And
Okay.
Bajan Canadian does take down Captain Sparkles, so
It's about time. They were in the storm, the zone way too long.
wait. Is he still up? Oh no, Just Verb is watching over. I was going to say they're almost they're
Jerome
spectating
is
this one as
still
well.
somewhere too.
Jerome's just chilling. There he
here's
is. Oh, he's
Jerome.
got high ground, though.
Oh my gosh. If they don't know that he's here, you absolutely need to single one of them out.
He's got a bow and arrow, too, right? So he's going to be able to shoot down
He
if
has
he so decides.
2 buckets of lava.
Oh, my
Two-
Make a mess. Make a mess.
And there it goes.
And
So
Outsole-
this is your chance. He knows they have 10 hearts. Now, if he can play the snake roll, you place down 1 or 2 right next to each other. I was just say they might have heard that hit. He also is trying to shift when he gets the chance, but they may know that there is someone
Oh,
just
he could
above
drop
them.
the lava.
But it's such a slow drop though, and you're obviously going to see the visual come from it. And I think Verb, yeah, they're going to know that he's most likely here soon. And Bajan takes a nice little look, sees his old buddy, and says, "Hey, I thought we're a duo, right? Surely we're going to stick together."
Drop it. Drop it.
Drop it like it's hot because it is. Come on. Do it. Do it, Jerome. He's going to be careful, though, because, right, the enemy, Just Verb is coming on the flank, and
What is he
Jerome,
doing?
somewhat of a perfect time, but here comes the engagement.
Oh,
Places
the
down
lava.
He's going to try to bounce him into it, and it works.
Oh, my
It works.
gosh. Bayesian Canadian, get out of there.
Oh.
And it doesn't work. Jerome goes down, but what an effort. Using the lava to his advantage. And, you know, lava played a huge role last time we watched this type, too. As you remember, Mongrel ended up boxing in a 1-by-1. Even in Minecraft, he's able to do that. And then stayed away. But this is what started us off. Bayesian Canadian taking Dolan out in the dark. And that was such a good play, to say the least. And he was using his tunnels to his advantage. And I love this play, as he just traps himself in that 1-by-1. But, man, what a performance from Bayesian Canadian and Verb. And mind you, they were in 4th place. But, I mean, come on, 2nd through 3rd and 2nd, 3rd, and 4th were literally within 1 point of each other.
Sure they're going to rise through
But,
that.
I mean, yeah, you got to imagine. He's going to move up quite a bit. Will they overtake first? I don't know, but they're definitely going to be way up there and much better off as we head into Find the Button.
Because as we're looking through the highlights, I mean, Team Our Frags and Vicstar were still here, right? It wasn't as if they were silent. So that's big for them, right? After you see a big game like that, it's thankful that they were to put a decent amount of early slays. But we saw a number of different highlights throughout this game. This is why I love Battle Arena. This is one of my favorite game modes in all of Minecraft Monday because of the interesting factors that we see, the mobs that were coming through at the end, which is so much fun to watch. And obviously, big shout out to Grape Applesauce, everybody that was trying to hang on at the end. It was great, but Vicstar and Co., they were hanging on. And speaking of hanging on, they're still in that 1st place position. And as we were talking about it, that 2nd through 4th place, it started to change up a little bit as we see Technoblade and James Charles walking down that 4th place position just above them. Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy, Bayesian Canadian and Just Verb, though. And that last matchup, thankfully to the W, along with a number of different slays, holding down that middle side. It has progressed them in at 2nd with 685. So not too far away, but still a decent jaunt as we get ready to head into our new game mode, Find the Button. Now, Taylor, I was going to say, I wanted to hear your thoughts about this one because I know you were doing some research watching the game mode. Talk to us a little bit more about it. I know we were kind of mentioning it at the start, but with some new viewers in mind, what do we think about this game mode?
It's going to be an interesting one, to say the least,
Yeah.
especially if there's only one level. I'm kind of curious, are people going to mirror each other? We saw that during Dropper where Vicstar found a way down, and one of the players ended up watching him and then finding a way down himself. So it's really going to be critical to observe where everyone is going, but it's also going to be critical, too, if you find the button early on, is it worth it to just hop right into it, especially if your partner's not with you? Or is it going to be more worth it to distract everybody and kind of walk around? Some players I'm going to be watching out for. Believe it or not, I'm going to be looking out for Hey I'm B.
Okay.
Bayesian Canadian's really good at this game. Techno probably is going to be an amazing at this
just
game.
look where Technoblade goes. He almost memorizes
He'll
the
probably be
courses.
just as good. Ant Venom, honestly, will probably be pretty good at this. Captain Sparkles, too. There's a lot of members who obviously play this game. It's a very popular game when it comes to Minecraft. I'm very excited to see how it's going to work out and who's going to end up on top, because the points are very close, and this obviously is going to make a huge difference. But there's a lot of levels, too, that matter. Parkour, how good are you at parkour, right? Because you have to jump up and find the button. Because some of these buttons are incredibly difficult to find.
Oh, yeah, right. It's not going to be the easiest, but our first time, right, spectating this this particular game mode. Find the button. We're loading in here toward Castle, and I cannot wait to see, right? It's pretty much just a moment of hide and seek. Who can find that button first?
I'm just waiting for Techno just to press the button.
I was going to say
literally
button already
within
gets hit. And
the first minute.
spam in chat here. So,
And I have no idea. Like, we have no idea.
No
right?
idea.
Let's
No.
make that clear.
We can speculate.
We can speculate, but we as the commentators, we have no idea where this button is going to be placed at. So based off the curators,
They did it!
Are you kidding me? Within the first
30
seconds,
They know.
Techno found the block. Yeah, he's definitely he's got to be familiar with this map.
But,
There's no way.
I mean, surely they moved the button.
So there's this one that I saw, and it was on
What?
the final. There was a series of like 5 different ones, and I was watching as Dan, Thank Noodles, Vic Star, Frags. They find it as well. Everybody. And so I was talking about observing where everybody's going to be and
Yep.
following the best players, and they're all starting to find the button. Oh, but there was this one map that was really cool, and it was nothing but buttons. The whole map was just literally blocks and
gosh.
buttons. But it was funny because it was all about finding the block that didn't have a button, and you spawned with a button in your inventory. So the idea was to place the button onto the block that did not have a button, the only block on the entire map, and then you pressed the button that was in your inventory. It was so creative, and people were going crazy, just clicking
There's
every
a
single
button
button.
there. James Charles
Oh,
came
there it
by
is.
there and didn't see the button.
No, I think he did. I thought he clicked it, but
No, he didn't.
he didn't click it. I don't know. I'm not sure. So, wait, Technoblade and James, they found their fifth
Okay,
button.
so there's multiple buttons. So
Yes, yeah,
I'm
there's multiple
curious,
ones.
multiple buttons on the map. So I'm kind of curious, how many buttons do you have to find? Because this is unique, right? You have to find multiple buttons on the same one.
Technoblade has found 5. The next highest team has found
How many
2.
minutes? We're not even 2 minutes in. We're not even 2 minutes in.
Apparently, there are like tons, like up to 80, 90
Jerome,
buttons.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm
So-
stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Please, please help me.
Wait, there's a button over there. Was that not a button? Back down there at the bottom on the ceiling?
So that's interesting, right? Beijing Canadian may have already clicked it.
So I'm going to point out really quickly. So whenever you find a button for the first time, right? If you're a team that finds the first button or you find a certain type, the first person that finds a particular button is awarded 15 points.
Ooh.
Which is crazy to think about. So what? They found 5 already?
So
like 6?
15. How many does a normal player get? Like afterwards.
So the first team to find the exact button is 10. The first team to for the first button, I think maybe found it all. I think is maybe how this is described as 15. So every button that you find first from here on is up to 10 after you found your first
Wow.
one.
So you can get a lot. If there's 80 buttons per
And
se.
you are awarded 5
800
points if you find a button at all. So if a team hasn't found it, or if a team has found a button already, and you find the same one,
Sure.
you're awarded 5 points. But that team, right, who knocks in their very first or knocks in a ton off the break, that is a constant and a steady 10 points going your way. And this is the guy to look at, right? Technoblade. He has the visuals. He knows where these designs, where these buttons are going to be around.
There's a
and
button.
There it is. That's going to be surely another one?
No, I think
possibly,
he already
or-
found it.
Okay, maybe
So-
just testing it out.
But this is something I was thinking about. You're going to go crazy because with there being so many buttons in a 10-minute time limit, you're going to start pressing buttons you've already pressed before.
Oh, yeah, for
just
sure.
to make sure, of course. But you got to make sure you cover the
Some of them could
different
also
ground.
be fake, right? I mean, some also
That
could
is
be,
true.
could maybe
Sure.
just be
A
for
decoy.
show. Yeah, for decoy.
Just like
right?
that one map I was talking about. Every button was fake except the one in your inventory.
There'd be
Well,
no way
this-
to duplicate.
The
or try to
interesting
follow
thing about
anyone.
this, too, is the amount of point shifting that can occur in this, right? Because we were talking before, we're like, well, how many points can you really get off of something like this? Because
Quite a
we've
few.
talked about a lot of the modes where, there are some points you can get. You can maybe swing 70 or so points, but we're starting to get into where it's almost a 2-horse race here, and both of these sides are going to be looking for as many as they can. And I haven't seen a ton come from TBNR Frags and Vicstar, I don't believe. I think
Yeah.
they're maybe on 3 or 4 right now, so we'll see if they're able to find any
Hey.
more. There we go. So they have found their 5th. Very good. Keeping pace. And I'm beginning to wonder if James Charles may not have hit that one earlier because
I don't
not
know.
seem to notice
There's a
it.
button right there,
Oh,
actually,
right
that we
there.
just missed on the outside.
CP, no.
See, that's the thing. You get in your head, you start thinking, okay, the buttons are going to be hidden. I got to parkour over this, over that, over this. And we just saw earlier someone parkoured all the way to the top of one of the buildings, and there was no button up there.
Yeah,
but
nothing.
meanwhile, in between 2 doorways, there's a button out in the open.
Oh man, Captain Sparkles. Like we said, there's so many different buttons that are on this map. But look how beautiful, by the way, Castle is.
Look
it's
at this
always
square sun.
It's always nice. It is indeed. We're rising on the castle, but it's always impressive, right, to see these creations that people have made over time and obviously have turned into mini games. And that little that castle wall as well. It's got to be impressed. Maybe a few buttons located around that area, but look at that. Lawrencide Yami, they found their 5th, and Evan and Captain Sparkles, they're going to go and find their 5th as well. So quite a few teams getting involved in that mix. That's going to be a guaranteed 50 points for them, maybe if not higher, in comparison to if they were to find it for the first time or whatever it may be. But like we talked about, we were discussing coming into this, how many points could be possible? How would it relate, if you will, to a Hunger Games? Well, you find 20 buttons a lot easier than said, and then you have one of the highest Hunger Games placements ever. So
Apparently James Charles is doing very well because people were saying, I think this is your mini game.
So we've been giving all the love to Techno here, but maybe James Charles is the one that's getting it done. Or maybe they're saying if you don't score high here, then there's nothing.
I feel like if you were really good as a kid with games such as like Where's Waldo, this game would suit you so incredibly well.
it would.
I spy with my little eye
Oh.
something beginning with Switch.
Someone just triggered a piston, so
Okay.
you never know, right? Buttons could also lead to chasms. It could lead to certain areas. I think Beijing Canadian even earlier was talking,
There's
saying
gotta
he
be a
was
button
stuck.
in there.
That might be a pressure plate, or it could be a button. It could be a fake one as well. You never know.
I don't see a button. See, it's things like that
Yeah.
would drive me insane because I would be trying to get every angle possible to try and look. Maybe there's a button in the water in that big fountain area.
Oh yeah,
People
I
were
think-
checking.
Oh, there's one right there. Oh, he didn't see it. I think I just saw a button that was like a little bit
It looked like it
displaced.
blended in. Yeah.
Oh, maybe you already pressed it. Who knows? But still, these are the most difficult, right? They already hit cobblestone. That's
Someone died. Someone tried to swim in lava.
Verb. No.
Jerome goes, how? Verb.
By the way,
Is he laughing out loud?
Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy, they just found their 10th, so at least 100 points for that side as well.
I want to be honest. I thought you couldn't die in this game, but apparently.
I mean, is there a penalty for dying?
I
Do we know?
I don't know. Do you respawn? That's definitely an interesting thing to think about. Another 10th button coming through as Techno and
So, yeah.
Charles find their other
So
one.
Technoblade and James Charles, they're by no means head and shoulders above the second place team. They're actually in second, or rather tied for first place, based on what we've seen already.
They're not head and shoulders. I would say they're more knees
Well-
and toes at this point.
Well, there you go. But
They're keeping pace.
Bad Boy
is what
Halo
we'll
and
say.
Skeppy, right? They're kind of in that conversation. We saw a few other teams as well. So, and
Phil's
there's
and
Phil's and
Jerome.
Jerome. They've entered in 10. So
3 minutes ago, I think Jerome was asking for help, and whatever help he asked for, he seemed to have gotten it. So.
Yeah.
You want out corner? Oh, you want to out corner? Does Lack have someone trapped? Another person tried to swim in lava? Dolan Dark!
There must be a really tempting button somewhere. That I have to think that's the only reason.
It's gotta be a
because
trap,
Jay
surely.
Schlatt did the same
F
thing
in chat,
earlier.
boys. F in chat.
yeah, if we can go and get that one in Twitch chat, that'd be great. Shout out to Dylan Dark. We hardly knew you. We'll miss you very much. Until next game, of course, when you'll come back. But
I'm stuck. Connor's stuck now, too.
there you go. Jay Schlatt's back. Yes, I think there's certain areas where you get to, and you obviously can get stuck. So I know this is going to be a lot of work for Lack to do at this moment.
Don't let him out. Dolan! He's getting heated up after the lava. it
Getting
seems.
feisty.
He's getting very feisty.
Oh, there's got to be one over here.
Oh, they
surely.
open up backwards. There's got to be one of the backwards one just to troll everybody.
Speedy and the sidearms. They've entered in their 5th, and minute 40 left to
Okay.
go. There's a button. I don't
No, I
think
think he
it's
already found
triggered
it.
anything. So
Well, we aren't seeing numbers between 5 and 10, so it's entirely possible that there have been a few more that we just haven't seen. But we get down to 90 seconds left, and the one I'm really looking forward to seeing, or that I want to see, is will
Another 10.
Vic Star. Oh, there goes James Charles down there at the bottom. But will Vic Star and Preston find their 10th? Because I don't think
Yep.
we have seen a 10th from them, and they're the ones that need to do that if they want to hold on to that lead.
that's a good point. Very solid in terms of what they need to accomplish. And down to our final 60 seconds. Now's when it gets interesting. Yami going to the very top
Another
of this
10th, okay.
tower.
There it is.
And yeah, there's
their
the we were
10th.
just talking about, right? If they could find that 10th, it'd be huge. And they managed to do it. So they're kind of evened out. And that's what you want to do, right? I mean, at that point, as long as you're at least staying consistently, at the same level of points as the other rosters, you're in a good spot because obviously you already have the advantage. So
Another person stuck.
there's Fitzy and Cryos. They were actually pretty early on in the lead. Same thing with Grape Applesauce and B. They've entered in 10. So could definitely see a point shift. But in our top few, a lot of teams kind of seeing the same result of that 10th. I don't know if we've seen an 11th be reached.
I'm not sure if we'd get the notification or if it's waiting for milestones, but Techno's found a way into the back with just over a few more seconds. I think there has to be one down here. There has to be, right?
That's what I would be thinking, right? I was thinking about checking under the ship too. That's on the outside. I was thinking maybe check over in that area, but time is over, and it seems as if Victor out goes to Bad Boy, Halo, and Skeppy. Okay, not bad at all.
Could be maybe a tie, because I'm not sure if they got over 10, but regardless, though, they were obviously a top-tier team kind of in that conversation of, who's kind of in the 10 range. I know they were absolutely up there, so,
I think they were the first team that got to 10, actually.
They might be.
So.
And I wonder if maybe you could get over 10. I don't know. We'll have to maybe figure that out, try to add a few things up. But speaking of adding, I know we've got our scoreboard nearly ready to go. I'm interested to see exactly where a few teams started to shift. Like we said, a lot of teams kind of got toward that 10 range, but I'm sure there was a few that kind of didn't manage to fill in that gap who could easily be falling right now. As we were discussing, each point that you got equaled out to 10 points, which is almost like a frag, where it's almost like an elimination, if you will, when it comes down to Battle Royale or obviously when it comes into Hunger Games. But Vicstar, TBNR Frag, still holding on to that top spot at 845 overall score. Beijing Canadian and Co. with Bad Boy, Halo, and Skeppy, and Technoblade kind of staying in that similar situation. Not too much changing up, but regardless, though, we see Grape Applesauce and Hey I'm B entering in toward 5th. Some pretty interesting teams, but like we said, not a whole lot changing up, but especially if you're Vicstar and TBNR Frags, a team that sits at the top of the mountain, that's what you want to have at this moment. That's what you want to kind of have consistently, is holding on and getting the same amount of points as everybody else at the very least. But like we said, guys, we are 6 games through, as we're going to head to a quick commercial break. When we return, it is time for Run from Lava.
What if I had my own G Fuel flavor? Introducing Cotton Candy G Fuel. Get it now at gfuel.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Minecraft Monday, week number 5, as we are officially 6 games deep. We've got only 3 more left. Of course, we are live here from the UMG studio. We're getting hyped. We're getting excited for our next game mode, which, of course, is going to be Run from Lava. And like we've been talking about, it's myself, Lando, along with Reflections. Nearly messed that one up. Sorry about that, Taylor. Did not mean to do that whatsoever.
Just don't let it happen again.
And I know, Grains, I know you beat me up in the commercial break. 9 actually gave me the hardest knuckle bump of my life.
Have you seen this guy, though?
It's
Come on.
true.
Look at his muscle. He was
Like,
rock climbing the other day.
My knuckles are probably red right now, I think. I don't know if you guys can check that out. I don't know. Maybe I could be injured. I need to call in
Probably
sick
because
next
you
week.
just washed your hands with hot water. That's
So
all
you were
there's
talking
about
about
That's
your
not
work.
true at all,
You were
but
talking
alright.
about your workman's comp policy earlier, so I had to.
We were.
say
I
how-
appreciate you for accomplishing that.
Glad
We
to have
totally didn't just say that on stream either, so I think we're good. I think we're all clear on that end. But Run from Lava, segueing, perfect segue. Coming up next, right? I'm really excited for this game mode. Taylor, get your timer ready. Get your. You were talking about it. You got your watch?
Yeah, it's
I
not
have
going to be
my-
sufficient enough. We need an actual timer.
I've got my timer. I can pull it up. Or Diane's got it.
Yep, we got our timer. We, of course, doing this.
Yes, we need to give
Exaggerated
context.
because last time it was over 3 minutes that Technoblade finished this course, and I do believe we are doing the same course.
Yes, we are.
Before the next person came, so it's going to be a lot of fun
Looking
for
at
us
your
to
phone.
do
Wait,
this.
you got an alarm for 4 days in the future. What do you got to wake up for 4 days in the future?
Never too prep, my friend, and it looks like we have started here. Again, for those of you unfamiliar with how this works, it's a matter of outrunning that right there, the lava.
Oh my! What? Wait.
This is...
There are.
What?
This got to be a glitch. Surely.
We're going back.
Just a quick little reset there.
let me...
Oh my
That was
gosh.
the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Well, okay, well, I don't even think Technoblade managed to escape
yeah.
that, which is saying something. That came out with a vengeance. That was all the frustration that was built up, and saying, you know what, you guys all wanted to be brought back. You were so
I
trapped
could
and find
hear
the button.
lava coming to them. That was terrifying.
That was frustrating for the mods, being like, we saved you guys so many times in that last game. Enjoy this. Right here's the lava. Game's over. Congratulations.
That was cool.
That last person that stayed alive, though, props whoever that was. We have
Just
no idea.
Techno's just. Why'd you guys in the game? What happened?
Yeah, exactly.
I was already on the 3rd level.
Yeah, he probably was. He's probably just like moving forward and been like, what just occurred? What's going on? Why is everyone dropping?
James
so?
Charles was yelling in my ear, and I can't just figure out why. What's going on? I haven't looked back once.
Exactly, right? So now that we have a few moments to kind of talk about the format, the way that teams can obviously earn points, we were broken down on how that one works, obviously by 9. But in terms of the way that players can earn points, you will earn 50 points for first place, 40 points will be awarded to second, 30 points for third, obviously. 15 points will be awarded to anyone else that manages to survive after that being the case. And obviously, for every single level that you beat, you will earn 10 points for that one as well. So a lot of points to be earned on this course, right?
Yeah.
We talked about Technoblade. Obviously, one issue was the surviving thing last week. We've changed that up. You can now no longer earn points for surviving. And the lava actually gets faster this week. It gets faster.
Much
Not that fast. The lava gets faster the less people that are alive. So
Really? Okay, that's cool.
yes, so that's going to be interesting. When we're down to our final, maybe 10 players, it's going to be moving pretty consistently. So this one may end a lot faster, but maybe a few players have started to kind of learn from their mistakes. We obviously talked about Vicstar last week, was struggling with that one particular jump on that one, I think it was gold, the
It
gold
was gold.
stage. So if he can kind of manage to make that jump happen, you learn from your mistakes last week. Maybe we won't see as many early stragglers end up dropping. So.
And there's 10 maps, 90 or 10 rounds, I should say, 90 seconds each one, I do believe. So I'm talking about Dropper, which was a great game mode,
I was
by
going
the
to
way.
say,
You
I
guys
was like,
saw that.
I'm not 100% sure if that's the case.
Well, how many courses are? I think there's 12 total. Okay, so there's 12
think
total
12.
courses.
A lot. The last one is
Yeah.
called The End, so it's easy to know there.
I can remember that.
And one thing I'm trying to remember from last week, I believe 6 people. There were only 6 who finished it last week, and that was with that lava rate. Last
Right.
week's lava rate. If the lava's even faster
Sure.
this time, you're talking about making up points here. If you finish this, you might make up some big, big points against your
Absolutely.
opponents
So
there.
I did see chat talking about it, and they're on board with you. They think Preston, or TBNR Frags,
Yeah.
if you guys know him by that as well.
I think he'll finish. I really
thinks
do.
he'll do very well
Yeah.
because a lot of people were talking about Preston being rusty, and I think he even said himself he's going to be rusty for Minecraft. Clearly, he is not. So I will say we can expect a lot from him, and it's a scary duo to think of too, right? Playing with Vicstar, who did very well last time.
yeah. I
So
mean,
if both of them could finish.
One jump, and he was literally hand in hand
Yep.
with obviously
Techno.
Techno.
Techno,
Thank
yeah.
you. I got in my mind Beijing Canadian and Jerome because they
Which
finished
they did
second
well
and
too,
third.
yeah.
I think I think, right after each other. They were involved in that top 6, as you were
Right.
mentioning, 9. So that's obviously a team to look out for. A lot of kind of players mixed up in that top conversation for top 4, top 5. But I know we're still trying to figure out a few issues with that level, and hopefully not taking everyone down in the first, what was that, 4? We had our timers out. That was like, what, 4 or 5 seconds?
I hadn't even gotten to. I had gotten to about 15 seconds before
15?
everyone started to burn.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't even get really time to intro it. Like,
Yeah.
No,
It was
I
like-
was about to talk about the lava, and then
Right.
as I asked for it, it appeared. So maybe that's the strongest
We've been
commentator's
caster
curse
cursing
we've ever-
everything. Exactly. So we need to be
Changing
careful.
the
we're
game.
the ultimate team here,
It is.
boys.
I mean, how many points do we have raked up? I don't even know.
Honestly, we're not even on the list.
We were slaying people down and TNT Run. I
After
think we
second
had
week,
a few things for
100,000. I
Spleef.
think that's going to be us at the end.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
because that was the highest score of all time, right? James Charles
James
and PewDiePie
Charles
together.
PewDiePie 100,000.
Yeah, still hasn't been beaten yet.
And never will, I don't
No,
think.
No, it
probably
would
even
not.
even as solid as we can call out different players, certain teams, they're just never going to match up. Sorry, Techno. That's just the only negative. But he does have the teammate with him, right? He does have the his buddy with him, James Charles. And speaking of duos, speaking of teams, players, here we go. It is time to start off Lava Run. And there we go. 1 second away, and here we are. First course, and a few players already starting to drop. I know myself, 9, we've got our timers ready to go, trying to see exactly how many will start to fall. And Technoblade actually misses. Okay. This is interesting. Oh, this is crazy.
Yeah,
Slow
this
down,
is-
Techno.
I was going to say, this is already more times than he fell through the first 4 or 5 levels last time, and the lava is flowing here, so it is on the same level, so you only get so much time to make these mistakes. And we already see poor Lauren here and Real Think Noodles in a rough spot, and I don't think anybody has gotten through the first
Oh,
level.
Lauren, come on.
She's got one more chance, just about. Maybe 2.
Take this carefully. Tread lightly. Oh. Oh, there's another one. Oh, gosh.
No.
The one problem with that, I think it's a 4-block jump, which means you have to sprint at the same
Oh,
time.
no, she just disappears.
Oh, no.
And, oh.
There she goes, our first competitor taken down. I think everybody else is either very close or on the edge of moving on to the next stage, as we're starting to see guys like Vicstar, Bad Boy, Halo enter in toward the icy level. But on Vision with Technoblade, right, he made this look so easy last week. And look at this, right, a T and TBNR frags that were, at least for the moment, hand in hand with each other. And those could be our top 2 without question, based off what the chat's thinking, based off of our kind of personal predictions as well. But to no avail and no surprise, it is Technoblade, the first person, I believe, to make it on to the desert level.
Yeah, a little sloppier than last week here. Of course, still a lot of courses yet, maybe struggling early on, but it'll be a little bit cleaner later. And guys, I'm getting a little scared here because I'm seeing some pretty good players who are
Oh,
just now
no.
entering the ice level, and that's the second level, right?
Yeah.
This is the lava's very quickly moving towards this first level, so
And imagine how much faster it's going to move if all those players don't survive, right?
Yes.
That's literally going to turn it up to, I don't even know how much, but like, that is not going to treat you kindly.
But James Charles is still moving forward, too, right?
I believe he made it into the desert
So
level.
that's a big move because I know
Wow.
right now
All
in terms of Techno, the reason why he struggled so much last time, despite getting all the points, was because Chris didn't make it very far. Actually, I don't even know if he made it past the first or second one. So if James Charles can come through and get a couple of points himself, that's going to be massive.
Well, that would be right. I mean, obviously trying to compete with that top-tier team, that's the biggest worry, I think, for this course, is that we know the skill, at least, from prior YouTube videos, that, someone like TNT Frags has. And we obviously know from what Vicstar pulled off last week, that could be a team that it maybe is the only 2 from their roster that is in that top 5 situation. So if you're Technoblade, obviously, if you are James Charles, you want to try to commit, you want to try to get as far along as you can. As Chris thankfully enters in toward the icy level.
It's that last block.
Oh, this is probably it. Fitz. Oh, can't make it through. Kairos goes
no.
down as well. And notice, right, that lava's moving. Wow, it's actually moving a lot faster than it was previously. As more players start to fall, the faster the lava goes. And the one player who probably doesn't have to worry about it is actually Technoblade. But look at this. Someone's above him. Someone's in front of him. It's actually TNT Frags.
Yep.
He overtook Technoblade.
Chat knew it. Chat called it out. Said, hey, Preston, he's one to watch out for. And they've been wanting this this kind of matchup to happen. I think they wanted it more so in Hunger Games or maybe even out there in Battle Arena, but this will have to do as the invisible blocks. You have to
Wow.
navigate through here, and not a bad job
Like a
from
champ.
Preston. Absolutely. I never would have thought about using that ladder on the side. I see it. I process it's there.
That's why you would have been stuck here.
I don't think I would have made it here, first of all, but
Yeah, no offense, but No, I mean, hey, no offense. I was trying to be nice about it.
Yeah, I don't think I would have made it.
I think, this is the first time anyone has ever overtaken Technoblade past, maybe the first 3 stages when it was him and Vicstar. This is very impressive from TV Run R4. He was talking coming into this, like, hey, guys, I'm a little bit kind of out of shape. I guess you could say get a little bit of rust on me, if you will, but he's holding on to this like a champ. Obviously, he has, a few struggles from time to time, but look at this, bottom right. There goes Speedy trying to stay alive, but unfortunately is not going to be able to do so.
Let's see here, TBNR Frag's a bit stuck, and I don't believe that Techno has entered the diamond level yet. Was in the iron level, as we see right here. Getting close to it here, using the ladders. And thankfully for Techno here, it looks like TBNR Frag's still a little stuck there, as we see Real Think Noodles made it to the icy level, but as you said, Lava here a lot quicker than it was last time, and this is the saddest part of it all, right?
It is.
You just have to watch. You know there's nothing you can do. And now we see the gold level, and this is a bit infamous.
Yes.
We saw what it could do to even the best players last time.
Struggling a little bit. Preston dropping down, trying to go for it once again. Oh, no. Sidearms.
Oh, that's huge. And Kawhi, Speedy, and Sidearms are both going to be down. That was a
Right.
team who we were discussing was kind of in that top conversation.
Top 5?
After Spleef, they were, without question, that top 5 situation. So the fact that they're both going to lose here is rather unfortunate, but at least Sidearms and Yami, they've got each other. And if you're Yami, I was going to say, actually, no, survival points don't really matter in this instance. So they can both go down at the same time, but that does not help everyone else that remains up, right? That Lava only continues to get faster. And, guys, this was the area I think that Vicstar had the issue with. So
It was.
if Preston can have a better performance, that'd be massive for them, because clearly this was not a problem for Technoblade at all.
Yeah, Techno makes
There
it
goes
over here.
Connor.
Techno makes it over here. It's going to be huge. And that lava is moving. Wow. So, and that's with 18 players left. Now 17 and 16. Now 15.
I see Technoblade on the other side of this block.
Oh, is he in gold now?
I know he's just on the other
Oh,
side
he's
of
on
the
this
court.
side, so he's-
they're basically struggling at the exact same point, however, on different levels.
Right.
So he's having to struggle with the invisible blocks, which struggle with invisibility. Who wouldn't have an issue with this? But just as we start to kind of count him out, even start to call that he's human, Technoblade is there to respond back and show that he is literally a robot.
Wow, this is twice that he's missed this. This is not one of the more difficult jumps he's had
There
to
you
make,
go.
but now he's finally caught up. And we see the sprint come on here. He tastes blood in the water.
Oh, my goodness.
Easy does it. Very nice. All the way through. And keep an eye on the bottom there, everybody. Do we see Preston moving on? It doesn't look like yet. Still in gold, so they're both close to each other. And he has officially closed the gap, I do believe. Just there, right as I say that, the emerald level is entered, but this is much closer. And Preston has to be careful here. He can't mess up too much because...
there goes Dan.
Oh, speaking of can't mess up, unfortunate way for that to end, but not a lot of room.
Oh, it's into the
maneuver
iron stage.
here.
That's just where
The iron stage?
Yeah,
So many people are there right now.
the lava entered in the iron stage, which is where we saw.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, okay, I
What
don't
is
know
happening?
about this
The
anymore.
lava is definitely moving now.
There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no physical way.
Preston, I don't want to alarm you. There's a wall of lava probably heading to you
In gold!
at 100 miles an hour.
Oh,
Vicstar,
Didn't
rest in
stand a
peace.
chance.
Oofers.
It's just Techno. and-
Oh, no. There goes Techno.
I think Beijing Canadian summed it up. He said lava went from 0 to hero real quick.
Wait, he's hanging on the ladder. Oh, my gosh.
Is
Keep
this
in mind.
emerald stage?
Oh,
I
I was
about
going to
to
say,
say.
I didn't know if it worked the same way that others do. Yeah, okay. Rest
Oh
in
my
peace.
goodness. That lava
Who's
is
left?
quick.
Okay, well, Team
Well-
Frags, he made it to the mine level, but not much farther than that. It's okay.
Wow.
Lava, GG. You won.
So honestly, it's you really do bank on some of those players to try. You do bank on some of those
Can you pick
players.
up that sword real quick? I had to call it out. I'm sorry. I had to call it out. There you go.
So clumsy. You do bank on those players who are maybe not the greatest at this, run from lava to stay alive. Because if they start dropping, stop smiling at me. And I want to use this sword on you, man.
Sorry,
You've been messing with me this whole time.
I just enjoy listening to you talk.
Hey, listen, my man, I like you. All right, I'm gonna
No
put
problem.
that sword away.
No problem.
You do in fact rely on these players to stay alive because we've seen how quickly that lava can move. And when it got down to just about 12 players left, that lava was moving like
Oh, yeah.
super quick.
My big thing to keep in mind was that when it relates to points, it's not going to change up all that much because the way that you earn points from running from lava, first, second, third, 50 for first, 40 for second, 30 for third. In terms of anyone else that survives, it's 15. The only way that players were getting points was just through going through stages. So nothing's going to change really here. I think, yeah, based off the points, yeah, nothing really changes up that much. As long as, Vikkstar and TBNR Frags, they kind of remained in that first place position, there was no way to really distance yourself. And that's a positive for the team that exists maybe above another roster. If a team's trying to make the come-up happen, that's a benefit for you because you're probably earning the same points that they are. Or if not, 10 less, which is,
right.
in the scheme of things, not that big of a deal.
And speaking of 10 less here, we're moving into bingo now. And what was the one thing that we said about this? It is so difficult to make up points in this. So, Bajan, Verb, I hope your Hunger Games skill is as good as it can get right now because that's going to be the only chance you're going to be able to make up these points.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to close that gap. But we've seen it. Even last week we saw it, how quickly first and second can close that gap.
Oh, yeah.
But like you said, bingo's going to be tough this week. Go ahead and talk about it. Why is bingo going to be so incredibly hard this week?
So apparently, this week we were informed heading into the broadcast that bingo will now involve going to the Nether. So that's going to throw in a interesting combination, that's for sure. Now, we were also told that a lot of the bingo items, because the bingo cards have obviously changed up, it's not going to be the exact same combination that we saw last week. But from what I've been told, it's going to be a matter of the items that you're trying to get lead up into going to the Nether. And I don't know what blocks it's going to be. We haven't seen the official bingo card, but that's going to be kind of a transition level that you have to make. So that obviously requires yourself getting iron, it requires yourself getting diamond, it requires yourself to get a number of different things in order to enter in toward the Nether, which is going to take some time, right? This is going to be a grind for a lot of these players to try to earn those items. But if it is kind of in the midst of doing all that, if all these items, if you will, lead up into doing that, like I said, we could see certain teams, dominating more than others will. But your Minecraft knowledge is definitely going to be tested.
Yes.
We saw quite a few players going AFK, and I'm sure they were checking the Minecraft wiki, like, how do I craft this? How do I manage to find shears or whatever it may be, which hopefully you know how to find shears. Regardless, though, it's going to be interesting for sure. I'm excited to see how this one goes down. But it's going to be a grind, and a grind that not normally, in comparison to Hunger Games, equals out to as many points as you were talking about, 9. So
Right. It's not going to equal as many points. And one thing about entering the Nether here, too, is remember, if you die, you lose all your stuff.
Yeah.
And that can mean losing valuable progress that you've made if you haven't put it to the bingo sheet already. So very important if you are going to go down there, maybe you do it early so that you don't lose quite as much if it goes awry. Otherwise, maybe you try to save it for later, the last thing, get the 80 points that you can and say, you know what, if we don't get the last one, big deal. We at least got what we could get in that situation. Right. But in any case, a very interesting new wrinkle. And like you said, these teams hope that the books are something they've been hitting.
And like you said, if you die, you lose your items. I think we did see a victim last week happen, and that was Bayesian Canadian Mitch as when he was teaming with Lackland. I think they ran into a problem and ended up getting exploded. And unfortunately, they lost their items, and that put them way behind on their bingo card.
It did, and, thinking on it now, who was our hilarious hero who opted to
open the shop?
Yeah.
Who was that?
Was that Chandler?
No, it wasn't Chandler. I forgot.
Carson.
It was Call Me Carson, yep.
Call Me Carson. For those of you who missed last week, Carson opted to take the diplomacy victory, if you will, if you are fans of Civ, trying to convince people to give him items that he needed by telling jokes. Again, tempted us on the casting couch with it as well. And we didn't get a joke, so there were no items given. Take a look here. We have a glowstone right there. Another wart, so there you go right there. Brewing stand. We have some quartz stairs. We go further. Mushroom stew, probably one of the easier things on there. An anvil. Going to get a redstone comparador, a spider eye, and a block of gold. So, a far cry from fish that we had on last week.
Just a little bit of a change-up, that's for sure. And I think at least to my knowledge, I think the one thing, glowstone, is what you're going to have to get in the Nether. So
you're going to need the Nether wart from.
Oh, that's true.
The
No,
Nether
you're
as
right.
well.
Yep. So a few things possibly in the overall idea, but look at this, just gazing through the Minecraft map. We're going to be doing this quite a bit, right? This is going to take some time for these
It's going
players
to take a long time.
to earn this out. And Chandler's already saying, I know he was typing in chat saying, I'm going to go ahead and take a nap real quick. And
Real wick.
Yeah, unfortunately spelled it wrong, probably because he was falling asleep as he
Real
typed
Johnny,
it, but
real John Wick.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a long one. It's going to be a lucky one, too, because you have to get incredibly lucky to find majority of these items, and you have to think to yourself, do we split? Do we stick together? If you do, in fact, die and you're split up, you're not going to be able to get those items, so you could run the risk of losing everything. So something to think about. But then again, if you split, you cover more ground and have the opportunity to maybe cover some more of these items a lot more quicker than you would be able to normally by yourself. One player did say he completed something like this in a span of 17 minutes solo.
yeah, that was Lake who was commenting.
That was our
so-
admin.
So, okay, he's the one who changed all this up. So
And did you see Technoblade's rebuttal mode?
No, I did not.
In creative mode, maybe.
Oh,
So,
oh man.
you
was
know,
throwing out
just
the
because
shots.
Techno never dies.
No. Even if you beat Techno, he finds a way to kill you in the end.
I'm curious. Is Chandler going to stop? Okay, he's going to go toward a different route. Okay, so I was curious if he was going to continue just sprinting or what the case was going to be. Chandler was talking about how he's going to kind of go for a nap, just keep just take a casual sleep, and maybe his sleep is causing him to sleep run possibly. Just running off in the distance. As I believe no one has yet to find an item yet, which, like we talked about, the item list can take some time, folks.
Not even the soup has been found.
Taylor, would you like to tell a story? You have any stories you'd like to talk about?
Brother, you want a story from me?
I think I'd love to hear one.
I guess we do have some time to kill.
It kind of forms a podcast when we get to this stage.
Well, give me a
oh,
Wow. Okay.
good morning.
I mean, this is going to be great right here. They just better hope that they can make the tools necessary. You're going to want an iron pickaxe if you're going at
Yeah,
some of
right.
this. So, fortunately for them, finding iron here on top of this other veritable treasure trove that they have located here on the bottom. So, great job to Ant Venom and Captain Sparkles. And they did really well in this last week as well. And like we said, you got to a number of different teams who got to about 8 out of 9. And it really just was a matter of whichever one of them was able to find that last bit. The Gapple being a difficult bit.
Yeah, that
the
was hard.
The TNT block being tricky, but I think they would have taken that any day over this current list, which is pretty rough here. I'm trying to see which is the next easiest after the mushroom soup, and I'm not getting a good answer here, guys. This is all pretty difficult.
Definitely is. How much gold do you need
For the block of gold?
for the block of gold?
Well, you need an entire thing of gold ingots. So it's not gold ore. You need an entire thing of gold ingots.
so what is it, 9 then?
9 gold ingots.
Hey, 9.
Yep, 9 whole golds.
Oh, let
my
me hear it.
gosh. It never stops.
It never
It's
does.
a great number. Great number.
I like it.
If only I'd known.
If only you had known. 9 whole grains. Bread company out there still waiting to buy that Twitter.
You know, it's
Probably not going to happen.
probably not.
What could happen?
Maybe not.
A lot of money.
So some other things that people are maybe curious about if they do not know exactly what it takes to build all of these things. The redstone comparator takes a redstone torch, another quartz, and some stone. So
It's not just a matter of like one item is required to go. You have to do some work once you get there, right? You're gonna have to. It's going to be a key component for quite a few of the items that you're going to need. And like we talked about, guys, when it comes down to this bingo sheet, it's not 3 across or 3 up. No, it's the entire. It's kind of a blackout, if you will, when it comes down to bingo. You have to complete every single one of those items in order to, well, not every single item, but it would be beneficial if you manage to do so. Because if you do,
Hello.
you're obviously going to walk away with 20 points, but you do earn 10 per every item that you manage to find. And there we go. KY Speedy and Sidearms
Found the mushroom stew.
mushroom stew. There you go. 1 out of 9.
One of the hardest items to find on the bingo sheet. So they're off to a phenomenal start.
They're rushing through this. Zooming.
I would like to see, though, actually, this game mode be played where you would, have to find like 3 across or 3 up, 3 down, whatever. And I say that only because, strategy would definitely come into play. Obviously, still much luck needed, right? But depending on the easy item, mushroom stew, you want to go off of that. That's in your middle one. Well, it opens the door to maybe getting 3 across or 3 in a row in another spot. So then you can kind of prioritize where you want to go, whether you have to go over to the desert area, where you have to go down to the netherworld, or whatever you have to do, right? It would be quite an interesting thing to think about. But with no shopkeeper and no shop, players are going to have to fend on their own.
Yeah, I'd love to see a shop. Oh, there's actually going to be a spider spawner here for KYR Speedy, so definitely going to need that iron pickaxe, that's for sure.
Oh, and Vicstar says, we are in the nether, but we don't have a way down.
Jump.
Wait.
Thank you, Kairos.
Yeah, if we get a chance, I'd love to see Vicstar's point of view. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world to make that happen, but I'd love to see if that could actually occur for them. Are they in like one block, I guess? I wonder if that's possible. I don't know, but okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Every spider has decided to go install. Oh.
And here we are, but
They
yeah.
definitely are. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not in a great spot right now.
Yeah, if my geography is correct, we are in the nether.
Good job, Taylor.
Whew, no way down, indeed.
Oh, yeah, they're in a not a good position. That's
Oh,
gosh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many blocks that they have in their inventory. I see, what, 6 cobblestone there for Vic, so
Can they even get out? So they're pretty much essentially.
they have to, like, build up. But
Yeah,
that's the only
so-
way they could do and I don't know if they have enough blocks to even do that.
Well,
They have water.
Wait, yeah.
Oh.
But no,
And
water
what-
doesn't work in the nether, does it? I don't think you can use water in the nether.
Oh.
That's the problem that they face, because otherwise you can
just
just
found the-
waterfall yourself down. But
Yeah.
here you can't.
they made their block of gold.
But they don't have any way out. So like they're going to be in a pretty bad position actually. And okay, I am seeing a command. Okay, so dot/spawn to go back. Okay, so not a bad thing.
But
be able to go back.
It's not a bad thing to go back, but this is very interesting because now teams are going to have to think really hard about how they're going to get down from there too, because you have to assume they spent some time and energy getting down there, and now to be able to go back all the way to spawn, they're going to have to maybe come back with a different idea. Having the block of gold, of course, very nice for them. That does take a lot of gold. Meanwhile, we're seeing some teams get the anvil. I believe Technoblade and James Charles, as well as Grape, Applesauce, and B. And, of course, that does involve a lot of iron ore there, so still difficult enough. You got to go through, but we have a fermented spider
Oh.
eye as well, so pretty good. Another poggers from Speedy. Man, Speedy and Sidearms having the tournament of their lives
They
right
are.
now.
They're turning up.
But
I know
I'm
they had
really-
a slower last game, but yeah, like you said, like every other game mode, they're always in that mix.
I'm really curious to see what these teams are going to opt to do. Looks like Lake has built a bridge.
Hey,
Okay,
shout
so
out.
shout outs to the mod there, and oh my gosh, that is a horrifying face.
What is he wearing? Oh my
Like-
gosh.
That's impressive. That's a large mouth for sure.
That is. Oh, my name's Lack. I built bridge across the nether world. That's all I see whenever I see.
This reminds me of the old Shoop de Whoop.
Huh?
Shoop de Whoop meme. Remember that from way back when? Forums? No? All righty. Yo, you know, now I'm dating myself too.
You are? How'd that happen? Who asked who out first?
I'm done with you. I'm done with you.
I am so smart.
Block of gold found for Bad Boy and Halo and Skeppy, so that's nice. Look at this. This is just so I love this point of view that we've got going on right now. Very cinematic. I love this. Shout out to observers. They're doing a great job. Just, hanging out, just watching the grass grow. Somehow it's manages to be underneath the in a cave, but I'm not sure how long grass will survive.
Artificial light
Yep.
from the furnace.
Yep. It's always nice.
It's beautifully composed shot. I mean, take a rule of thirds is being followed right now
This
as
is
Bad
what
Boy
I
Halo
want.
continues to move.
In a huge blowout picture, and I just want to frame it in my living room above my TV, and then I'm going to get rid of the TV, and I'm just going to look at that image.
Hit print screen, everybody. Print screen.
That's all I want. If any designers out there can maybe print screen and put that into Paint, I don't know
Put
how
it into paint.
I don't know how hard that process is, but if you could do that, I'm all for it.
Look at that Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy hanging out, just having a good time, as
Full diamond armor.
Minecrafters would do.
On Skeppy.
Shame that none of the pieces of full diamond armor happen to be on this. Is there anything diamond related that's on here?
Well, Andy, you did say you wanted a story earlier.
I did. Yeah, can I hear a story?
Give me a subject.
So I get to choose the category here. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot I could choose from.
Either that, or we can go with chat too for some subjects.
I'm kind of down for. I mean, I don't know what kind of stories do you have saved up.
Brother, listen. I've lived a long time. 27 long years.
Tell me the story of how you lost your mouse.
So actually, that's a true story. I did in fact
Computer
lose.
mouse, by the way, not an animal.
Okay. Well,
Well, that's less engaging now.
did not. I don't know. I don't know how I lost my my computer mouse. How did I lose my computer mouse? Well, it was a long day. It was a difficult day. I was walking around in my my flight backpack and my gamer backpack that I have, and just so happened to be outside. All of a sudden, this storm blew through, and my backpack whisked away in the wind. My mouse was in there, and unfortunately, I lost my mouse.
That's a very engaging story. I love that.
True story.
Nobody tells
Is
it
it
like
actually
you do.
true?
It's a true story. I saw it on National Geographic once.
I was gonna say, I thought you lost another mouse that we were. Like,
Well, when I was a kid, I had this this hamster.
oh God,
A hamster called Har- no. This is 100% real.
I don't know if we would want to hear.
No, it's cool. And we're now in the Nether again. There's a bee out there.
Oh my God.
But I had a hamster. I named it Harvey. And
Harvey the hamster.
it was Harvey. And I ended up losing it. I don't know how. I was a kid, whatever. And,
I don't know how I lost.
I think I left the cage open, and the hamster ended up getting out. No worries. Ended up losing Harvey, and my mom ended up finding out about this. And see, I didn't know at the time. I actually didn't know that Harvey was. I just thought Harvey was just chilling in a closet or wherever he was at. Hey, hamsters, they can travel too. They have a life, right? But with that being said, my mom ended up going and buying another Harvey. Ended up calling it Harvey 2, and I was very happy because now I have two
V2
Harveys.
of Harvey, right?
But a couple days later, we found Harvey 1 in the closet.
Wow.
All of a sudden, I've got two Harveys. Wasn't even planned out. I had two hamsters. Lost it, found it. Good story.
That's nice. I was hoping it wouldn't be a sad ending, so I'm glad to hear that that worked out for you, Taylor.
Ended up being a fire in the kitchen once off of
Whoa.
off a stove one time. I know. Listen,
This took a very dramatic turn
well,
here.
Don't like this story as much.
Same house with my mom. My mom loves this story, and I in school, what do you get taught if there's a fire? What do?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll. I knew where the
That's if a fire is on you.
Well, listen, I'm a kid. I don't know these things. So all I know is there's a fire in the kitchen. So what do? Well, I go through and I find the fire extinguisher and I start rolling down the hallway with the fire. I'm not even joking. I start rolling down the hallway with the fire extinguisher, hand it to my mom, and my mom puts out the fire. Stop, drop, and roll, ladies and gentlemen.
And
saves lives.
Speaking of things that are way too hot, Sidearms and Speedy currently sitting at 4 out of 9.
Wow.
They have said Pog every time they've done something, so it's been very easy for me to follow. But they're doing pretty good. Technoblade saying communism mode engaged. So
Okay.
Technoblade maybe starting to do a little bit of that diplomacy after being on the opposing side of it for so long. But we are seeing some teams here down in they're starting to make some action happen here. And again, I think from what I've counted right now, I believe that there's at least 3, maybe 4 items you have to get down in the Nether. So all of the teams that we are starting to see will have come around eventually. Everyone's going to have to end up down there eventually.
So, Landon, you mentioned Googling. Chris is like,
Yeah.
I'm over here Googling stuff. So, yeah, it's a real thing.
Man, you got to jog your memory somehow, man. Like you said, there's a lot
Oh,
of stuff
no,
to-
they've left the 5 hardest for last.
Well, of course, that's why they were saying.
All right,
Pog.
guys, we've completed everything. Oh, by the way, we still have to find a portal to the Nether. So, funny story about that one. We were in the lead, but hey, at least you found five items. Yeah, 4 of them are not gonna be the easiest. Ant Venom and Sparkles. Hey, they found glowstone. Positive. Positive in the end means that they're in the Nether as well. And there's Filza, also finding some. Also, love this.
So
But-
progress is being made a lot faster than I thought it would, to be honest.
But a lot of teams have still yet to find all the items they need to in the Nether. So there's that. But hey,
the court stairs from Vicstar.
the court stairs are going to be probably the easiest.
That's the first time that we've seen somebody get the court stairs, so good work there.
Make sure nobody places any beds down here. You don't want to do that. For those that know what happens, I'll leave it to you. But that would be an interesting prank if someone tried to do that actually on somebody else. Oh no, is there a ghast?
Oh my gosh,
Oh, there it is. It's floating just below. No.
that sounds.
So what I'm worried about is that obviously it shoots fire if
Sure.
you're close enough to it. It would destroy the bridge if people get too close.
Oh my gosh.
So this ghast, yeah, Taylor's observing a ghast. It's not going to. Hopefully not. Let's just pray that no one gets too close to the gas.
Well, at least if it destroys the bridge, they now have the capability to build back out. I mean, at least a few people have
That's true.
these items here, but
Oh, Vicstar's just
something at least. Take some hefty
fire in a
damage
negative way.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But was it worth it?
Yeah,
So for
it
Minute
was.
Spider, clearly not hard, right? Sidearm, Speedy, they managed to find it.
Is that your...
So
What is that supposed to mean?
no, nothing. Hey, listen, nothing at all. Poggers. Let's see if they'll be okay. Sorry, Vic. Thought you're on Bayesian's team. Uh-oh. Wonder what are you up to, B? What are you up
Maybe
to?
handing over items. Who knows?
Could you imagine if you thought your teammate was there, so you hand them the items they don't have, and they complete their bingo?
What if a player changed their team, or rather changed their name coming into the game?
Could you imagine?
I'm just saying, those are the things that I would do.
It's like
That's why I'm not in this tournament.
well, you should be in the tournament. That's a pretty smart thing to think about.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The Speedy handing over some items. Maybe sidearms go make something if you can.
By the way, Taylor, I was looking at chat for a
Yep.
moment, and when we were talking about stories, someone said a school story. Do you have any interesting school stories that you could tell us?
My 8 years of community college. Don't have any school stories.
8 years of community. Never mind.
That's
Go
an
ahead.
exaggeration.
Okay.
And excuse you, I do have a pixelated diamond sword to my left. Watch yourself.
It's
all right?
diamond too.
Careful, that does a lot of damage per slash.
It
It
does.
is.
Although, if I had the same skill in punching as as Technoblade would do, I would somehow win the fight. Well, there's
That is
6 out of
true.
9. Okay, so we're getting there. We're making progress.
Yeah.
But go ahead,
6 out
Taylor,
of
on your,
9. And that's a lot of the hard ones, too, here for Vicstar. Sorry to cut your story off here. Just trying to keep the folks updated. Speedy and Sidearms, though, 6 out of 9. They're in the lead. There's a Pog. I believe that Technoblade and James Charles have just entered the Nether as well, so they're going to be trying to make some magic happen. And they do need a Blaze Rod, which they're going to be able to get from a Blaze, so aptly named. And
Just Blaze.
that is going to be a tricky part here, and it looks like Vicstar may be trying to bait it out or do something to make this fight a little bit easier, because this is a tricky one. And got to make sure that it's set ever so properly.
Oh, it's locked up. Oh, yeah, they've got to be careful because when it drops, you have to make sure that you can obviously grab the item. Vicstar places down the floor. The Blaze Rod says thank you and actually decides to go ahead and throw a few flames his way. Vicstar's trying to go very carefully about this. If he were to lose this, it would be incredibly frustrating. Hits him once, and he's floating away. Well, somewhat.
And Techno's saying L, so I'm kind of curious. Did something happen on his end?
No, I believe that James Charles stole somebody else's pickaxe, and when they complained, Technoblade said L. And there goes.
No,
No
he didn't get the
Blaze
Blaze. So all
Rod.
that work for nothing.
Oh, that is very unfortunate.
He does get some experience, but
And
big deal.
actually, the Redstone comparator was made by Speedy and Sidearms as well, so
okay,
they are definitively in the lead right now, if I'm not mistaken. Are they going to take this?
They absolutely could.
Take a look right here, see if we can make sure that we have it right. It's just
Are you kidding
the
me?
Nether Wart and, of course, the Brewing Stand, which involves the Blaze Rod.
These
which
guys are incredible.
has proven to be the trickiest part.
Shout out to the crew, man. These guys are absolutely going off. We were talking about, okay, you know what, they found the first few items, but they still have to go to the Nether. They've absolutely managed to make it happen. Vicstar, you got your wish. There's your Blaze Rod, but he unfortunately found a Blaze Rod spawner, so ends up finding 2, I think, even though there's one in the inventory. They think they might separate. So regardless,
Is he
though,
going to block this? Oh, no, he's not. I was about
what
to
a
say.
savage.
That would have been brilliant. That would have been absolutely brilliant here, and he might still do it. Let's see here. No, just getting the bingo card out. Not committing to full evil yet. Okay.
You know what I would love to see is so this would be a strategy that I would also implement. So whenever you hit the zombie pigmen, whenever you're in the Nether, everyone is affected by it, and they attack you. If you complete yours, or say that you go to the Nether first, and then you hit one as you leave, that'd be the smartest move ever, because anytime that someone tries to go in the Nether, they're going to be attacked by this ward of different characters and different mobs. So that would be the strategy that I would implement. But that may happen. Who knows? If we start to see one attack another person, that means that somebody accidentally hit one.
I don't necessarily think it's bad to mess with your opponents either in a way like
I mean,
that.
hey, you know.
Because, hey, you were just minding your own business, just, hitting things,
Yeah.
right? So,
Oh, man.
This
Big
is a
Star, TBNR, they're not too far away. Like, this is a top-tier team that even the chat we were obviously calling out as well. This could be a team that can make a lot of work happen, and based off their Minecraft experience, they're showing why that's the case here, 9.
They're done in the Nether, if I'm not mistaken. So
Oh, wow.
that's got to feel good here. They still have some work to do underground yet. Of course, it's not all done here. But the redstone comparator you make with redstone, obviously, that doesn't need to be found on the Nether. And then the fermented spider eye involves a spider eye, which you can find up on the good old surface if you'd like, but certainly down here, just a matter of finding the spider. Meanwhile, there on the bottom, we have the real stars of the show, Zombie Pigmen.
Shout out. Don't get on those guys' bad side. Tell you what, you don't want to do that. But here's back towards Speedy and Co.
Careful with that lava. Okay, good, good.
Listen, sometimes you destroy blocks very quickly in the Nether. You never know when you start to take some damage or maybe even fall away. But a few players starting to get closer and closer. Like we talked about for Speedy, missing the Nether wart, missing that brewing stand. Still some key components, but they're without question in that top situation compared to a lot of other players. I remember Chris and Chandler. I'm actually curious how much progress they've made because they were talking earlier on about how we're having to Google stuff. Chandler was saying he's going to go take a nap after he realized they had to go to the Nether. So clearly in that conversation for top teams right now.
And it is the first 5 players, right? Or 5 teams, I believe, to
I think so, yeah.
finish their bingo card. They do get points. As this is going to be a good opportunity for Ant Venom, as well as Dan himself. As long as they don't die, right? They are going to be
3
caught
players
on
here.
fire, and yeah, this is going to be a mad dash to try and gather some items.
The spawn is going to happen here, so they should all. There should be enough to go around here. It's just going to be a matter of
Unless you weren't destroyed.
gets luck. Yeah, unless
Can
of
you
that.
imagine? Can you imagine
Blaze
how
rods
savage that would be?
going around. Lava is just orange water, says Verb. So a nice helpful hint for all of you Minecraft newbies who have maybe started picking it up. Remember, lava is just orange water and no damage is associated with it.
Okay. I'll remember that.
You good, Vic?
I was going to say, we just had a casual little breakdown there for a moment, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? But Ant Venom, Captain Sparkles, okay, brewing stand and block of gold. So they're going to be up to 7, or rather 6, excuse me. Or no, 7. I can't read, obviously. So 7 for them. They just go, okay, Chris, Chandler, they find 5 out of 9. Zombie Pigman doing what they do, just hanging out, doing what they're supposed to, and making sure that they keep the Nether protected. And he clearly does not want to be on camera. And I wouldn't want to be either. You're just surrounded by your friends, your ghasts, your blaze rods. And how indicative Captain Sparkle's looking down a dark hallway and trying to oh, and he actually teleported. Never mind. Didn't matter. I was going to say, I thought that was kind of indicative of the game. You're trying to progress forward, but it's just a long hall, if you will, a long hallway of what you're trying to progress on.
You know, sometimes the story you paint is not the one we watch. So we do have the sugar cane here, of course, a very important part of making this. You do need sugar for fermentation. Fermentation for the fermented eye. And look at this beautiful moonrise. And here you go, Landon. Go ahead and paint a beautiful picture with this. You're talking about being indicative. How about the moon rising and the sun setting as Vicstar rides into the distance?
I would sing, but I don't want to allow for anyone to have to get to that point. It's just, this is fantastic. It really is. This is a lovely image that we've got going. Vicstar riding off into the moonlight. Not the sunlight, but the moonlight. Going throughout the many waters of Minecraft.
If I may quote a poem by Robert Frost.
Absolutely.
The waters, that's not how it actually goes, but the waters are lovely, dark, and deep. But I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And a fermented spider eye, all that's left here for Dan. How have we missed this?
I was ready for the next one.
He said all that, huh?
Yeah.
Even fermented spider eye was in that poem. Like I said, man was ahead of his time.
He was.
He truly was. Actually invented Minecraft, believe it or not. But we haven't even talked about
Robert
Dan
Notch.
DTM.
Yep, Robert Notch, in fact.
It's this is big here. The fermented spider eye again. It's just two teams racing to get that spider eye, if I'm not mistaken.
Like I said, top 5 teams do in fact get some points. So as long as you finish within that, you are good to go. There might be some bonus points for finishing first. With that being said, nighttime is here and the monsters are going to be out. And Speedy saying and hopefully everything's good with him. I don't think anybody's dropped at this point, but
I think that he's trying to get the blaze rods and is not having too much good luck with it.
and they're so close. If they go down and lose all their items, ooh, that could be detrimental.
Oh, 8 out of 9 for Speedy and Sidearms. They found the brewing stand. Look at this.
They might be the first ones to finish.
They could be. I mean,
What do they have left? Is it warts? Is that all they have left?
I believe so. Yeah, I'm almost positive that's the case. Because I remember the last 2 items, I think, were those 2. And back to Dan TDM and, you know, keep on with the Robert Frost quotes. Maybe taking the road less traveled by, possibly. Oh, no, not too less traveled by, because thankfully his teammate's going to be there. So not as lonely on the sandy shores.
Technoblade and James Charles at 8 out of 9 themselves. I'd love to see what they're still lacking. Take a look here at Sidearms and see what they need. So they just need the wart. So they do not have too much left. So we have, what, 4 teams now at 8 out of 9?
I think that's correct, yeah. That sounds about right.
Sidearms saying down to trade. So we might.
Don't.
I'm telling you guys, diplomacy. I know for a fact that Grape Applesauce actually gave James Charles something that they needed. And there was lots of I love yous exchanged in the chat. So that's a big deal for them. And again, it can work. Selling anything? So I love this. The game within the game. And Speedy and Sidearms did finish it first.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Speedy,
Wow.
Speedy and Sidearms living up to the Dr. Seuss quote, why fit in when you were born to stand out? And they were born to stand out in first place.
We're all about the quotes here. This is
I love to
fantastic.
see it. Dr. Seuss, a man, a few words, but man, can he speak?
Robert Frost to Dr. Seuss, everybody. Next will be Tolstoy.
Oh, gosh. Green eggs and ham, am I right, Taylor?
Hey, best breakfast you can have. One of the best MREs you can eat.
Yep.
Oh, look at this.
Yep. Vic Star
There you go.
and Preston getting theirs in second. So now I believe there are 2 teams left at 8 out of 5. James Charles running about here at the top. Let's see what they lack. Waiting for it to come back up here. It is the first 5 teams, of course, that'll get the scores, and they just need the Remented Spider Eye again. So now they're going to be waiting for nighttime to try to get that Spider Eye as well
Or dig
as
down.
finding that. They could do that too, as well as find some sugar.
And I do know the first Nightfall we've seen, we didn't see any spiders kind of pop up. And people were saying, where are all the spiders at?
Yeah, once again, as you say that, 2 people in chat
Yeah.
asking for the hostile mobs. Make that 3.
Even
I
Tech
Can
was-
I get 4?
Was it Bajan Canadian who was basically the one who took down the I think it was the spider portal, or not the portal, but the Yammy. Oh my gosh.
What is...
Yammy is that's it.
no.
Oh, no.
No,
And
it's
that's all
taken
those
down.
items gone.
That's so unfortunate. That really is. That is not what you want to see right now. Sidearms and Co. They're just hanging out, right? They can just chill here. As Bad Boy Halo taking some damage as well. He and Skeppy thankfully have found the item that they need, right? The blaze rods seem to be their current target as the gas just laughs or cries. You don't really know, honestly. You get tears, so I'm not sure if it's happy or if it's sad. James Charles maybe feeling those same emotions.
Waiting desperately. I don't think we've ever seen a group of people wish for spiders more than our players are right now.
Yeah.
Spiders are terrifying.
And we see Dan and Real Think Noodles with theirs completed
Bam.
as well. That's 3. Technoblade calling hacks as always.
Yeah.
And
Wait, what? Why would Technoblade call it hacks? So if he's not winning, he calls hacks?
Yeah. See, when you become a champion, you can never admit defeat.
That is true.
To quote Daigo Umehara, never
What?
let yourself be defeated.
Who in the world is Daigo Humahara?
Oh my gosh, chat, roast this man.
I even know who Daigo is. Taylor.
Oh my goodness.
I apologize.
You shouldn't have said that.
Play fighting games, everybody. They're fun too. All right. Broke the spawner. We went into Mineshaft, found a spawner, and broke the spawner. So we talked about different strategies, and I think that is the one that they've gone here. Plot armor. Everyone is so toxic. So apparently there was a spawner down within a mineshaft of the spiders, which they promptly broke. And now Techno crossing over every hill, mountain, and desert to try to find a single spider.
I'm saying because we saw someone destroy a was it spider spawner earlier.
Yeah, spider spawner earlier.
That may have been
I
the
was gonna say,
only
that might-
one.
I was gonna say I don't know how that functions exactly. I mean, surely there's got to be
that was
more.
Speedy and inside a little bit earlier. We found a spider spawn. You broke the spawner? James Charles, that's a.
But
that's
surely
a,
there's more than one.
well, you would think.
Oh,
on,
yeah, I
on
mean-
an infinite map.
Oh yeah, there's infinite amounts of possibilities.
It's, oh my gosh.
Infinite
Break one,
amounts.
two. Well, now it's sounding like Dan might have broken one as well.
I
And
thought Dan was the one who did. I don't honestly know.
we
Who
might have
knows?
broken the Blaze one too.
Dang.
At some point,
Okay, there must be spiders and spider webs. You would assume.
are they going to take these too? The greed. They found another.
There it
they finally
is.
found it.
They found it. They found what they needed.
There's the spider eye.
They thought of it. They're thinking about it right now in their heads. Should we destroy this? It's 100% what they're communicating. Thankfully,
There's
they've got
the
the
sugar.
sugar. Yep, they'll be good. And that should be game for them, right? That should be the next team. 4 teams should be done after this is completed. Come on, Techno, you got this. There it is.
Now, do they break it?
Would you? I think James is thinking about it. He's really thinking about it. That or he's just stoked. Oh, no, they're going to leave it. So, wow. So they're giving, obviously some crap to Dan for destroying it, and for good reason, because they didn't do it themselves. They have a right to do it.
Yeah, I didn't want them.
Darn
to
it,
break
Dan.
I didn't want them to break it. I wanted
Dirty
them to keep
Dan.
it. Dirty Dan.
Dirty Dan.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
You knew that one.
See, I know my stuff.
Classic literature Taylor has lost.
SpongeBob
But
SquarePants.
SpongeBob
I'll tell you all
SquarePants.
about it. Sandy cheeks. Come on. SpongeBob was my thing.
Would
I
you go to
remember
the Chum Bucket or the Krusty Krab? Which one?
Krusty Krab. Come on.
Okay. They have good pizza there, from what I've heard.
I was just about to sing that actually, as the producer sings it. Yeah, Krusty Krab pizza. A bit odd, right, for them to go and transition over from burgers over to pizza, but they made it work. I got to tell you, SpongeBob can make anything happen whenever he wants to make it happen. And
Hey, okay.
Very
ladies and
good.
gentlemen, the bingo has been completed.
Victory Royale being given to Technoblade and James Charles. I'm fairly certain that everyone scores the same. Just a matter of alphabet and the teams listed there. But Speedy and Sidearms were not too happy that their names were not the ones that were listed.
when they were the first ones done.
Yep.
The only time that they did well in other games earlier.
Yes, they did.
TNT Sleeper, so.
Now we got one more game left. Now it's time for some Hunger Games,
Hey,
baby.
my
I'm stoked.
favorite game. to
I'll be
watch.
honest, I love Hunger Games, but a little bit of Battle Arena. I don't know, that for me has always been so much fun to watch. Even from last week, even to this week, they've always had interesting endings, and the fact that they've kind of happened a certain way that they have, they've occurred at the end of things, the way that teams have kind of performed. It's kind of made it for me probably one of my favorite game times, along with Hunger Games, obviously, and a few other ones that we've got going on. But let's go and take a look at our scoreboard as Vicstar, teaming our frags, they've entered in to the 1,000 range, 1,095 score. Beige and Canadian and Verb currently sitting in second place with 875. Technoblade and James Charles rounding out third place at 805. And Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy, 761. Let's be totally real here, guys. Top 3, really only ones that have a chance at eclipsing this. And you might be could be arguing second place is going to have a very difficult time at doing this one as well.
100%.
And the biggest problem, not that I'm trying to be, Mr. Negative over here, but the team that won the first one happens to be the roster that currently sits in first right now. Vicstar and TBNR Frags, they walked away with the first Hunger Games. Unless they drop early, I don't know how this one's possible for anybody
And no
else.
one's ever overtook first place
No.
at all
No,
the
not-
entire night. So
Not at all. Yeah.
that's actually pretty crazy to think about, because I think this would be the first week where first place has maintained first place. Because at least at some point,
I'll say yes.
Yes.
At some
No,
point,
that's
Absolutely.
correct.
Okay.
Hey, listen, thank you guys.
That is
at least at
correct.
some point during, at least first, second, and third changes up a little bit. But already underway, ladies and gentlemen, it comes down to this. And Bayesian and Verb need to go. I have been waiting for Bayesian Canadian Mitch to finish up on top. It seems like he is always just a little bit short. But if they can take out Vic and Preston right off the rip, they can easily close this gap and come through big.
And this, if there is anything to be had about this, any nice, wonderful thing that you can say about this, it is the fact that this is the map where we saw Technoblade go for around 250. So it can be done on this map. There is a precedent for it, but I think it's going to be a very difficult segment. If nothing else, they're going to need to find as many as they can. And really, if you are Vic and Preston in this situation, all you need to do is just not let disaster happen, right? Get a couple, put it out of reach, and then have fun in the chat afterwards. So we do love Breezy here, of course. We've talked about how this is one of our favorite maps. There's some parkour, plenty of water, a couple boats that you can go around in, and, of course, a giant boat that instead of riding around the waters, you can instead go up and deck out and attack people from. It's a lot of fun, a lot of verticality here. And we'll see here, we haven't had an elim yet. The grace period, people were talking about in the chat, 10 hours, I believe, was the the time that was given. I'm not sure if I heard that right, Landon, but something in there.
Yeah, I'd hope that it's not going to be that long. I know Lake maybe try to finalize a few things.
Restart. 3.5K seconds.
Just 56 more minutes, no problem. Hey, 3,500 seconds, not a big deal. We're good.
Oh,
hey.
man. Just imagine how well these teams are going to be geared up at the end of that grace
Could
period.
you imagine?
Diamond everything.
You would hope.
I mean, I'd imagine some teams maybe wouldn't be at the diamond level, but
Well, you know what the best thing is? Nick and Nepenthes would hide that entire time.
Oh, 100%.
I wish they were
Oh,
here.
100%.
I would. Nick,
yeah.
Nick and Nepenthes, we miss you. We need you back for the next week of Minecraft Monday. We miss the casual hiding spots, the random WWE entrances at the
Oh
end
my
where it's just like
gosh.
they rush in. It's
Watch
like,
out,
oh,
watch out, watch out.
exactly right. Those moments are incredible. So I'm hoping that it's just 1 week that they're gone for. I hope that they can obviously come back next week and show us a number of different surprises and get out of that top 17, top 18 placement of where they were last
They're
week.
consistent,
So.
though. One of the most
They are.
one of the most consistent
They
teams
are.
in our tournament.
They are.
I would
They are
have to
consistent.
say.
That is a factual statement, yes. I don't
know,
like the way you're spinning it, but it is a factual
It's
statement.
100%, as we'll see a replay from the phenomenal match from before, as you got to see a little bit. But it was kind of nice to see Preston, starting off hot and heavy, going big. And this is really where it all started, right? Preston, Vicstar coming through, and we had no idea what was in store for us, at least from their performance. But, man, did
I
they
knew.
show up huge.
I
Well,
knew.
excuse me. You're right. You did call it at the beginning.
I did.
And my team that I called is currently sitting at, what, 4th place?
That's
Bad Boy and
respectable. For
Skeptic.
sure respectable.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I feel like you're their coach. Like, they could have done so much better, though. Like, you're at that stage.
Hey, listen, if any Minecraft team needs a professional coach, do not come to me because I'm not the guy.
You could definitely quote them some nice poetry, though, for sure.
I definitely could.
You know,
Yeah, Dr.
some
Seuss.
calm 'em down.
Dr. Seuss.
Some SpongeBob quotes. Yeah, definitely. So
SpongeBob and Dr. Seuss. Those are the things that really
Inspiration
drive. Yeah, they absolutely.
from our youth.
From our youth, yeah, as if they don't know anything about SpongeBob. But hey,
Hopefully
Kids
they
these
know
days, am I
everything about SpongeBob.
let's talk about the weather while we're at it.
Now let's talk about this. Grape applesauce. How many grapes would it take to make applesauce?
That's a
An
really good
infinite
question.
number because it's not an apple.
You don't know that. Grapes are miniature apples.
Hold on, let's think about this.
Is
for
this the
real.
hill you're dying on today, Taylor?
Did we really-
Grapes are miniature apples. Chat, put it on the poll. Are grapes miniature apples?
I think Taylor's going to Google this. I'm actually very interested if this could.
Are
be
grapes not
accomplished.
apples? Hashtag roast me. That's all I'm saying.
It's like those pictures that people post of themselves and say roast me.
do.
Taylor's just like, it's like a quote that you put out there. As you
I-
said, like, kind of put it on the
Remember
board
when I
there.
posted one before, like
Did
over
you
a year ago?
actually?
Remember I took a picture with the red shirt and the glasses, and I said hashtag roast me.
Oh,
I was
no.
still getting roast, like literally, I don't even know, like 6 months later.
People love to roast. People love to
Tell me
right.
about
to
it.
throw
Now
out, right? They
we're-
love to insult, and they also love to slash. From time to time. As we are in our final game, I think we're good to go. Hopefully, no one's taking, or rather, people are now taking some damage because that's kind of the name of the game. It's the way that you do earn points. But let's be realistic here, guys. Like we talked about, there is one team that is clearly heads and shoulders above the rest, which happens to be Vicstar and Preston, a.k.a. TBNR Frags. They pretty much just need to hold on, right? Maybe find a few elims, just kind of make their way maybe into the top 5, and they should, without question, have this game in the bag. But for everybody else, it is all-out aggression time.
It is indeed. And looking at this, they've already got pretty decent gear for this early. You'd think that it's going to be at least enough for them to win most
What is that?
engagements. That's a bevy of cargo is what it is there at the very
Okay.
top. Very nice. I'm not sure if there is a way. That is a strong bird, I might
Can you
add,
imagine
too.
if somebody managed to ender pearl up there and like, oh my gosh, 64 diamonds? Like that
I
would
guess
be.
that is what you would have to do. And
Yeah, I
still
love that.
long. We haven't had anybody get eliminated yet, but we're starting to see a couple teams meet up there. And I believe, as I say that, we do have grape applesauce. So we were talking so much about our grapes apples, and well, I guess we won't
We'll find out yet.
Find out.
Quite unfortunate. B goes down as well, so that team is out. And Speedy, after a great performance in Bingo, unfortunately is going to be eliminated himself, but his partner will still be up as the players are going down. And one of those players that you're hoping, at least if you are Bayesian and Verb, you're hoping Preston as well as Vic start to go down as a fight is going to be happening on the outside. Chandler, he's going to drop Bayesian. That's a good elimination that he definitely needed, especially being in second place. But Skeppy comes through, takes Bayesian out, and that has definitely got to hurt, especially for Verb, who is now all by himself. And this is the team we wanted to close the gap the closest. 875 points to 1,095 of Vic and Preston. Bayesian and Verb, this might be all she wrote.
This is not looking good here, 9.
No, it is not. And I think, if anything, this opens the door. The only other team that was maybe a prayer's chance is actually we're going to go in on right now. They're doing their job, and now Fitzy going after Techno, but Techno's going to be above the water and is going to get the chance to run away at least. And going to have one chance, eat up here and try to get away. And I don't know, did James Charles go down in the middle of that? Can you somehow get out of this one, Techno? No, not even you.
Of course, it was Preston who takes him down.
It was.
And how notable, right? How
rich get richer.
How lovely, how interesting is that, right? To see that Preston takes him down. The 2-time champ. It could be indicative of what may be occurring today. Maybe passing over the torch to another duo who is absolutely on a run. And speaking of runs, Skeppy desperately trying to get closer. Only 2 hearts separate them, and decides to go and utilize the Ender Pearl to solidify things. And maybe he's going to find a little bit of loot on the ground. Also does have 2 diamonds in the inventory, so could definitely make a sword out of that. So the player to look out for without question. But my goodness. Influx of eliminations that could be coming in here shortly. Fitz not prepared for this fight. Down to 7 hearts. Unfortunately, James Charles. No. He's got the bow. Does he have any arrows? It doesn't look like it. Going down toward the low ground.
Oh, low ground now to Preston, and that is not what you want. James Charles knows he's in a bad position. 3 hearts.
Oh, and Vic going around the back.
Oh, yeah, this is...
James, no! He was so young! He was so young.
Vicstar, I'm surprised didn't stop in to stop that and call Preston back. As we've seen in the past, Vicstar, James Charles, they run deep.
And now we have to start conversing about if they're going to get the top score overall. Because, of course, we know that they have this one in the bag, right? Bajan's already gone. Techno's already gone. The only 2 teams that had any chance of catching them now gone. So now the question is, can they get to that 1,400-point marker? Because I believe that's the only thing that they really have left to do. We'll see. That is, I guess that's really the story to have right now.
It definitely is, right? How good can they be? It looks as if Good Boy Halo and Skeppy are going to survive here. So, Taylor, your team, once you were highlighting, maybe want to try to get up in the standings a little bit farther, manages to escape. And I think Skeppy was put in an awkward spot. Captain Sparkles, did he not realize that Yami was there? Didn't seem like it. Nice flanking opportunity. However, down to 14 hearts. And
got to get some air.
Has some chicken, has a wooden sword. Not going to fare off the greatest, let's be real, but this could be a very long-range fight. And I'm going to look for a point of view, but look at this. Bad Boy Halo Skeppy versus Vicstar and TVNR Frags looking toward the skies for the moment as TVNR goes down. And I think that Vic is still alive,
Vic
so
is still alive.
Still hanging on. Maybe another 1v1 fight that could be going through, and I think someone might have Enderpearled out of this situation. So, yes, Skeppy pretty much reigns true, so props in the end if you are Skeppy and Bad Boy Halo, but to no avail. They weren't the team that needed to put on this performance.
No.
This wasn't the team that we thought could maybe put up something in order to get toward that first place position. But still, a notable fight for sure.
They're only sitting at 761 points. I mean, they would literally have to make a record pace and get over 300, maybe even honestly 400
They
points.
need Minecraft reboot vans.
Yeah,
that's what they need.
That's In the next update, reboot vans coming your way. Could you imagine?
I'm not sure if Flake could pull that off. He could pull off a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that one would be an easy fix.
An entire coding team for that.
It might be, though, one thing I guess we can look at now is we see Skeppy with a massive 34 on the gear category. That's one of the highest I've ever seen. Skeppy does have a chance to do something that nobody else has done, which is get second place 2 weeks in a row either. So you talk about Skeppy, you have to start talking about Skeppy as maybe the most consistent overall player, at least in terms of his results. 5th, then 3rd, then 2nd. And you know, provided that he slays out here, this is a chance for maybe another second place. So the storylines are not done quite yet, folks. That is an enchanted diamond sword, full iron armor. It's about as good as it's going to get here. And little enchantment. Why not? Rich get richer, as you say.
And a couple of ender pearls as well. So definitely kitted up well is going to be Skeppy, and also has 2 gapples. Skeppy is looking literally unstoppable. Captain Sparkles and Venom, who have been a consistent duo throughout a couple of weeks at least. Not the best performances this week, but it's always good to see them in the mix because you know they're going to put up a pretty good fight moving forward as we see the head of Lauren. But look at this, Donnie Bobes as well as Jack Messi pushing down, and a fight is going to ensue as when will the tunnel end? And it looks as if it's going to. TNT being placed, and the pursuit continues, Landon.
Oh, but actually, Anvin has to be careful. He actually took a piece of dynamite to the face, trying to place it down, but he actually could be dropped. And yeah, one more swipe and he was through. Captain Sparkles wins the fight with just a narrow amount of health, but here comes Jack, not stopping. And Captain Sparkles trying to initiate that cape. Can he escape? Can he make a Superman run? 2 hearts. And it looks as if he will be using the outskirts. Waves goodbye, possibly the pirates that are just on the coastline and going from lily pad to lily pad. Jack on the hunt. Here comes the Ender Pearl, but tosses it in the water. That's not the point of view that he definitely wanted, but if CP decides to take a quick little gander back, it possibly could be his last moment at some vision and maybe tries to take some health, but that's when Jack comes through with the slay. A valiant effort, a valiant run. And while they did take a teammate down, they cannot survive past that top 7.
I do believe 6 gold ingots were received from that, so getting very close to making
love
a
the
gamble.
quotes. I love the quotes. I think that was
Techno's.
I think that was Techno's. I think every time Techno dies, they actually place down a quote in honor as Skeppy pulls on a nice little 360 onto Dolan Dark. I think that was like I think it was a quote from Thanos. It was like if you
No, that's from Star Wars. If you strike
didn't
me
read it.
down, if you strike me down, I'll
that's
become more
Obi-Wan.
powerful than you could possibly imagine.
I get it. I
Yeah.
couldn't read what it
It's from Star
said.
Wars.
I get Star Wars. Don't worry. I do.
Yeah.
Who said it, Taylor?
Huh?
I literally said it. Who said it?
It's from Star Wars, to be fair. Yeah, Jar Jar Binks said it. You guys set me up? I hate both of you. I guess I don't really know Star Wars that much, all right? I'm sorry. Once again, and Obi-Wan Kenobi actually is
There
the
you
one
go.
who came through and said it.
Yeah, no problem. Good old Jar Jar Binks. You never know.
Hey, Jar Jar is pretty awesome guy out there, I'll be honest. But,
He is. And with the amount of water that's on this map, you never know who could be around here somewhere.
Might yet. Skeppy did get the win over Vicstar there, so that will be the end of Vicstar and Preston's run. Of course, their lead more than safe right here, and I don't believe they'll be rewriting the record books in a new score. And now it's really just kind of all up to Skeppy here, who is at about as good a kit as you could possibly get, now taking out Jack. And this is a chance for Skeppy to absolutely pad the stat sheet. Gonna eat the gapple. Yeah, get right back into it. Great reactions as well. Think Noodle's weak. Can you hit the shot? Yes, go and get you another. And Dan does not have the kit to take this fight, but doesn't seem to care. Another one goes.
Goodness, Skeppy.
Skeppy now making a serious case for the top individual score over the course of this event, too.
Oh, for sure, right? Skeppy's been constantly consistent, if you will, in multiple game modes. And obviously here, and this particular one has been great. Like we said, Jerome and Philza hanging out toward that tree line. They could be a team, right? In combination together, since they do have that enchanted iron sword. They could do some damage. And get ready to come down from the skies, maybe observing, much like we saw Captain Sparkles and Ant Venom do in the in one of the earlier mini games that we had. Starting to take some damage, and this is when you have to begin to engage. Only 3 teams left, 4 players to be exact, and one of them happens to be very much feared. That's for sure. They've got TNT. They can also jump down toward the shoreline. Look at that. They're just hanging on to the last few tree saplings.
Can't survive
there
forever
goes
up there.
sidearms.
And yeah, sidearms down. Only 2 teams left.
So I'll say this, not going to be easy, but you do have a 2 versus 1 situation. They need to make sure they're all good in health before they engage, and Phil's is going all in.
Final bite going down, and we're going to see if Philza is going to be able to carry on as Skeppy runs away. Ender Pearl out. Quickly follows up with the bow, and no more Endopros, I don't think, in his possession.
No
is getting
way.
damaged a little bit. It's going to be Jerome, and there he goes. Skeppy gets eliminated, and Filza and Jerome come through in the end, winning the last Hunger Games. Not a bad play from them, but man, so many highlights from this week. Week number 4 of Minecraft Monday. We have seen a couple of different players rise to the top. Honestly, the best performance I have ever seen from Bayesian Canadian as he went into this round, in second place with Verb, Techno, and James. Not a bad performance from them either. James, I got to say, played very well this week, and a lot of highlight moments from himself. But, man, this guy on your screen right now, Preston, TBNR Frags, came through. A lot of people calling him rusty. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's played this game in years. But clearly it's like riding a bike for him. He came through, and he dominated the competition today.
He did. Take a look right here again, Skeppy. I think, like you said earlier, some great scores over the course of the thing and lots of highlights. We see right there, ending the reign of terror by Preston. And Skeppy, I think Skeppy, who was it? I think it was you earlier who said that Skeppy's due, right? Skeppy is going to get the victory one of these days. This is a very dynamic duo. You see right here, capable of making all the plays, the shots, the TNT. We said all the time over the mini games, the cream has risen to the top over the course of Minecraft Monday. It's created a lot of different stories we've gotten to see, and although this is the end of another chapter, the novel is certainly not finished.
That's for sure, right? Vicstar, TBNR Frags getting their opportunity, right? They finish this one off as your champions here in week number 4. A very valiant effort from everybody that was obviously involved. Bad Boy Halo and Skeppy rounding out that second place with 899 and just a few points short, right? 8 to be exact. Bayesian Canadian and Just Verb finish off with 891. Technoblade and James Charles finish out things with 823. And in that 5th place spot, we've got Grape, Applesauce, and Hey IMB, their first tournament. A lot of people were kind of hyping up this duo together, and I'm glad to see that they obviously had a very solid performance, that's for sure, rounding out that 5th place position. Of course, as we kind of take a look through some very notable teams, ones that we've seen in the past, and I'm excited, right? KYR Speedy and Sidearms, right? They finished in 7th place, a very solid performance, their highest placement as a team yet in Minecraft Monday. And that's the perfect time to do it, right here in week number 4.
Yeah, love the fact that they moved their way up there. But you know what I'm interested in seeing? It's something we haven't highlighted before. Let's go ahead and look at individual scores and see who is individually our best players. Well, no surprise there. Vicstar, Preston, 606 and 547 for them. But 3rd place, Technoblade, nothing can stop the man in 3rd at 504. But Skeppy popping off in the last game gave him a tremendous amount of points and got him up to 4th.
And if I may say, of course, it makes sense that the top 2 players will be on the same team, but this tells you a lot right here in 3rd and 4th, right? Techno and Skeppy tied. I know Techno has always been very complimentary of Skeppy's skill, and I think that, you know, this should show you the level of skill that some of these guys have. And again, it just goes to show you how important those Battle Royale maps are. Last week, Techno having 900 points himself, most of those coming in Battle Royale maps. This time got shut down early, only able to hit 500, but again, so many good players here, and you've really started to see them come into their own.
Yeah, absolutely right. I'm really glad that we had that individual stat line. That was awesome to witness for sure. We got to kind of see which players are really kind of contributing, and the fact that we saw obviously Preston and Vicstar because they are a team, but the fact they were able to put up that much is very, very impressive, and I am curious to see if maybe as time goes on, if they will be on the same team possibly, because like we said, this group, they were looking great, you know, from beginning to finish until you were obviously calling it out, right? They never went in 2nd place. They were always in that top position.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, so many highlight moments from a lot of key players here. A lot of the normal guys doing just as well as they typically do. But, yeah, seriously, got to give a shout-out to our man over there, Vicstar and Preston. Preston, who hasn't played in some time, comes through and does so incredibly well. But Vicstar, imagine if you put Vicstar or Techno.
Oh gosh,
right?
Or even Preston,
or even with Preston, because you know the key thing has always been to kind of nerf Techno, but it's also good too because it gives another player. James Charles, come on, playing with Techno, they wouldn't have placed as high if it wasn't for Techno, right? So you got to be thinking it's a blessing in disguise to have him on your side. But I gotta say, Minecraft Monday, changing a lot of people's lives and careers, including Techno. I love that you brought up, you know, the stat line, right, from 5,000 to 80,000 viewers.
Somewhere in that range.
It's insane.
It is,
Yeah,
and that, of course,
somewhere.
is Techno's stream numbers there. So, again, changing lives, you talk about that, being able to share what kind of was, I guess, a huge community, of course, Minecraft content creation that has then fallen back down a little bit, but now coming right back up. And, you know, we've been talking so much about Techno. This is the first time that Vicstar has won as well. So you talk about someone who, Techno's been playing it, but the notes that we had on Vicstar on the very first Minecraft Monday, never stopped playing Minecraft. That was the one note that we had on Vicstar. So for Vicstar to finally have that rewarded with a victory on Minecraft Monday, that's got to feel great too.
Well, it absolutely does, right? To finally capture that championship after in week 1, right? Finishing as a runner-up, it went back and forth between some of those top-tier squads, even winning, I think it was like the first 3 games.
First 3, yeah.
He and Pizza Hut. So the fact that it kind of came full circle is definitely interesting. But final closing words, right? A fantastic Minecraft Monday that we had here. Like we said, our second week of doing pretty much mini games in combination with Hunger Games from before. But I think this one was fantastic. What are your guys' kind of closing thoughts on it?
Definitely. So I honestly, I think this week was probably one of the best weeks we've had just because of the entertainment value that we were able to bring to you guys, hopefully. And you guys were able to see some new game modes. Find the Button was awesome to kind of watch, right? I love the fact that they had to go through and find 10 different buttons. I had a good time during Dropper. Honestly, a highlight moment was the glass one, right? Or where the windows were just nothing but there in the invisible blocks. It was great to see, but honestly, one of the best weeks entertainment-wise. And I genuinely had a blast watching every single one of these guys play it out. But also shout out to you guys for coming by. You guys are beautiful people, and we love you every single broadcast.
Right, and again, we talked about it a lot, the development of these players, too. We've seen Speedy and Sidearms get better and better as time have gone along. We've seen more and more players come in. The inclusion of Preston now, they're going to have to split that up. We probably won't see Vicstar and Preston teaming up, so shuffling that around, what new elements that's going to bring, what new storylines, what new champions for you to root for at home. All of these things have been brought in. They've been changed up so much, and it's been so good to see Minecraft Monday grow with new players, new talent, and I can't wait to see what the next chapter in this story brings us.
Absolutely. Well, of course, we want to thank you guys so much for watching week number 4 of Minecraft Monday. It was one that we're not going to forget for a while, that's for sure. Kind of obviously some closing thoughts. Massive congratulations to Vicstar and TBNR Frags, a.k.a. Preston, for winning this week. They looked fantastic from start to finish. They never entered out of that first place position, and like we talked, it looked like a dominant squad that we may not see again, but who knows? Maybe a throwback might happen in the future. But, of course, want to also give you guys a massive thank you for tuning in here for week number 4. If you haven't done so already, make sure to check out our friends at G Fuel by, of course, visiting their website. Once you purchase something, you can feel free to use the code UMG for a 10% off discount. So make sure to go ahead and utilize that, buy some of their new flavors, and obviously come back in the chat and let us know how you guys feel about them. Even tweet at us on Twitter at UMG Gaming. Get involved in the conversation and keep using those hashtags. Things like Friday, Fortnite, Minecraft Monday. We're constantly looking at those and want to hear what your guys' thoughts and critiques are on some of these tournaments and how we can obviously make them better. But speaking of tournaments, we also have to give a massive thank you to Keemstar for making this event possible, guys. If it wasn't for Keem, this wouldn't occur. This wouldn't be possible. So massive thank you to Keemstar for allowing for Minecraft Monday to keep going through, to add in the personalities. It was obviously one that, like we said, we're not going to forget for a while. Like we said, guys, that is it for Minecraft Monday, week number 4 for the entire UMG studio. Reflections, Nine-Hole Grains. I'm Landon Lano Sanders signing off for the final time, saying thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.